Hello, dear friend, and welcome. Find yourself a comfortable position. Whether you're snuggled under warm blankets, resting your head on a soft pillow, or simply settling in for a peaceful moment of calm. Let your body relax. Let your shoulders drop. Let any tension in your face just melt away. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and breathe out gently through your mouth, releasing the day. One more deep breath in and out, feeling yourself sinking deeper into comfort and relaxation. Tonight, you're invited to drift off with the Kawaii Crochet Club, a gentle story of 4 adorable friends, handmade gifts, and a magical Christmas Eve adventure filled with warmth, wonder, and friendship. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be. Just close your eyes whenever you feel ready and let the soft rhythm of this story carry you into peaceful, restful sleep. Segment 1. Introduction to Merry Soft Meadow. Soft snow is falling tonight in a place where magic lives quietly in every snowflake. Welcome, dear friend, to Merry Soft Meadow, a gentle corner of the world where winter never feels cold, only cozy. Here, beneath a sky dusted with stars like powdered sugar, there sits a special little village where kindness glows warmer than any fireplace, and friendship is the most treasured gift of all. The meadow is blanketed in fresh snow tonight, soft as whipped cream and just as white. Peppermint trees line the winding paths, their candy-striped bark gleaming under strings of golden lights that seem to float through the air all on their own. If you listen carefully, you can hear the gentle tinkling of silver bells hanging from the branches, swaying in the winter breeze like a lullaby made of light. Little cottages dot the hillside, each one decorated with holly wreaths and glowing candles in every window. Wisps of cinnamon-scented smoke curl up from chimneys, carrying wishes into the starlit sky. And there, right at the heart of the meadow, surrounded by a garden of frosted rose bushes and snow-covered toadstools, stands the Crochet Cottage. The Crochet Cottage is special. Its walls are made of smooth river stones, warm to the touch even in the deepest winter. The roof is thatched with golden straw, and icicles hang like crystal chandeliers from the eaves, catching the moonlight and scattering tiny rainbows across the snow. A round wooden door painted soft lavender stands at the entrance, with a brass knocker shaped like a ball of yarn. In the windows, you can see the flicker of firelight dancing, and if you step a little closer, you might hear the sound of soft laughter and gentle chatter. Inside this cottage live 4 very special friends. First, there is Peach the bunny. Peach has the softest pastel pink fur you've ever seen, like the inside of a rose petal kissed by dawn. Her long ears are velvet soft, and they droop just a little when she's concentrating. Her eyes are the color of warm honey, and her cheeks are always rosy, as if she's just come in from a gentle walk in the snow. Peach wears a tiny cream-colored apron with pockets full of crochet hooks and stitch markers. She moves with careful, thoughtful steps, always mindful not to bump into anything or anyone. Peach loves beautiful things, the way frost patterns on a window, the shimmer of a star, the perfect loop in a piece of yarn. She is patient and gentle, but sometimes her mind fills with little worries, like whether her stitches are even enough or if her friends will truly love what she makes for them. Then there is Biscuit the Bear. Biscuit's fur is the color of warm caramel, soft and thick, perfect for the coziest hugs. He has a kind, round face with a permanent, gentle smile, and his eyes are deep brown, warm as melted chocolate. Biscuit moves slowly and deliberately, as if he's savoring every moment. He wears a plaid scarf year-round, red and cream checks, and he smells faintly of honey and cinnamon. Biscuit is the steady heartbeat of the group, always there with a comforting word or a listening ear. He's never in a rush, which sometimes means he's the last to finish his projects, but he doesn't mind. He believes good things take time. Sometimes, though, his slowness comes from sleepiness. Biscuit loves naps almost as much as he loves his friends, and you might find him dozing off mid-sentence, his crochet needle still in his paw. Next is Mittens the Cat, a golden-orange tabby with stripes like sunshine through honey. Mittens has bright, curious eyes that sparkle with mischief and wonder. Her whiskers twitch when she's excited, which is almost always. She wears a tiny knitted collar with a silver bell that jingles softly when she moves, which she does often because Mittens can never quite sit still. She's quick and clever, her paws nimble and fast as she works her crochet hook. Mittens loves to play, to explore, to discover new things. She'll chase a dust mote through a sunbeam or pounce on a loose end of yarn with delight. Her energy is infectious, filling the cottage with laughter. But sometimes her playful nature means she gets distracted, starting one project before finishing another, or wandering off to investigate a sound in the garden when she should be counting stitches. And finally, there is Sunny the duck, the smallest of the four friends but the biggest in spirit. Sunny's feathers are the softest pastel yellow, like the first light of morning. Her cheeks are round and rosy, and she has the most cheerful little orange beak that's always curved in a smile. Sunny wears a tiny polka dot bow on her head, pink dots on white, and she moves with enthusiastic waddles that make her look like she's dancing everywhere she goes. Sunny's laughter sounds like bubbles floating through the air, light and joyful. She sees magic in everything and greets each day with pure delight. She's wonderfully creative, always coming up with new ideas and new ways to make things special. The only trouble is, Sunny can be a bit clumsy. She'll drop her crochet hook, knock over her teacup, or tangle herself in yarn. But she always laughs it off and tries again, her optimism never wavering. Tonight is Christmas Eve in Merry Soft Meadow, and the four friends have gathered in their cozy cottage with a very special plan. The inside of the crochet cottage is just as magical as the outside. The main room is circular, with low wooden beams across the ceiling, each one wrapped in evergreen garlands and tiny white lights. A stone fireplace crackles with a warm golden fire that never seems to need more wood, just a little magic to keep it burning bright. Above the mantel hang 4 stockings, one pink, one caramel brown, one orange, and one yellow, each one hand-stitched with the owner's name in silver thread. Plush armchairs and floor cushions are scattered around the room, each one covered in soft blankets and throw pillows. Shelves line the walls, filled with baskets of yarn in every color you can imagine: rose pink and ocean blue, forest green and sunset orange, lavender purple and buttercream yellow. There are hooks of every size hanging on a pegboard, and little jars of buttons, ribbons, and bells for decorating finished projects. In the center of the room is a large round table made of smooth oak, its surface worn soft from years of crafting. Tonight, 4 chairs are pulled up to the table, and on each chair sits one of our friends. 4 oil lanterns glow softly at each corner of the table, casting a gentle golden light that makes everything feel even cozier. And there, in the middle of the table, sits a little wooden box carved with stars and snowflakes. Inside the box are 4 balls of yarn, one rose pink, one cream, one striped in orange and white, and one sky blue. These are special yarns, softer than clouds, and they shimmer very slightly, as if they've been kissed by starlight. "Christmas is tomorrow," Peach says softly, her honey-colored eyes reflecting the firelight. She touches the pink yarn gently with one paw. "I want to give each of you something special, something made with love." Biscuit nods slowly, his warm smile growing even warmer. "Handmade gifts are the best gifts," he says in his deep, rumbling voice. "They carry a piece of your heart." Mittens' tail swishes with excitement, her bell jingling. "I love this plan," she chirps, already reaching for her orange and white yarn. "And tomorrow, when we all have our new cozy things, we can go sledding down Starlight Hill together." "Sledding!" Sunny exclaims, bouncing in her chair so enthusiastically that she nearly knocks over her cup of peppermint tea. She catches it just in time, giggling at herself. "Oh, that will be so much fun! I can already imagine all of us zooming down the hill in our new warm things." The four friends smile at each other, their faces glowing with anticipation and love. Outside, the snow falls a little softer, as if the whole world is settling down to listen to their plans. Peach has decided to crochet mittens, beautiful, cozy pink mittens with a delicate snowflake pattern. She pictures Biscuit's paws wrapped in warmth, or Mittens batting at snowflakes while wearing them, or Sunny clapping her wings together in delight. She wants them to be perfect. Biscuit is making a scarf, long and fluffy in the color of fresh cream. He imagines wrapping it around one of his friends' necks, seeing them snuggle into its softness. He works slowly, but each stitch is filled with care. Mittens is creating a beanie, a playful striped hat in orange and white that will have a little pom-pom on top. She's already imagining how silly and cute it will look, and the thought makes her whiskers twitch with amusement. And Sunny is crocheting a tiny sweater in sky blue, with little white clouds stitched around the hem. It's small enough for a duckling or a bunny or a kitten, and she's putting all her creativity into making it special. "Let's start now," Peach suggests, her voice as soft as the snow outside. "We can work together by the fire and keep each other company." "I'll put on more tea," Biscuit offers, rising slowly from his chair. "And maybe some of those gingerbread cookies we baked yesterday." "With extra icing," Sunny adds hopefully. "With extra icing," Biscuit confirms, his smile growing. As Biscuit moves to the little kitchen nook, the others begin to prepare their workspaces. Peach carefully unfurls her pink yarn, running it through her paws to feel its softness. Mittens bounces in her seat as she picks up her crochet hook, already planning her first stitches. Sunny hums a little tune, something cheerful and bright, as she arranges her sky blue yarn. Outside, the wind whispers through the peppermint trees, carrying with it a hint of something magical, something that glimmers and shimmers, something that's drawing closer to the crochet cottage with every passing moment. But for now, the four friends are simply happy, surrounded by warmth and friendship, ready to create gifts from their hearts. The fire crackles, the tea kettle begins to sing, and Christmas Eve in Merry Soft Meadow settles into a perfect, peaceful beginning. The snow continues to fall, each flake a tiny blessing, each one unique and beautiful, just like the friendship shared by Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny. And as they begin their crafting, the cottage fills with quiet contentment, the kind that only comes when you're exactly where you're meant to be, with exactly who you're meant to be with. This is how our story begins, with friendship, with yarn, with hope, and with the gentle magic of Christmas Eve. Sleep softly, dear friend. The story has just begun, and there is so much warmth ahead. Segment 2. A cozy night of crocheting by the fire. The fire crackles softly, and 4 friends begin to create. The crochet cottage has settled into the most peaceful kind of busy, the kind where everyone is working with their hands, but their hearts are full and content. The oil lanterns on the table glow like little suns, casting warm circles of light across the yarn and the friends' gentle faces. Biscuit has returned from the kitchen with a tray. On it, a teapot painted with tiny holly berries steams gently, releasing the sweet scent of peppermint and honey into the air. 4 mismatched teacups, one with roses, one with acorns, one with fish, and one with daisies, sit beside the pot. And there, arranged on a small plate, are gingerbread cookies shaped like stars and hearts, their icing glittering as if dusted with edible snow. "Here we are," Biscuit says softly, setting the tray down carefully. He pours tea for each friend, his movements slow and deliberate, making sure not to spill a single drop. The liquid is a beautiful amber color, and little wisps of steam curl up from each cup like tiny spirits dancing. "Thank you, Biscuit," Peach whispers, wrapping her paws around her rose-patterned cup. The warmth seeps into her fur, and she takes a small sip, closing her eyes as the sweet, minty flavor fills her mouth. Perfect. Sunny immediately reaches for a star-shaped cookie, but in her enthusiasm, she knocks it off the plate. It tumbles through the air, and Mittens, quick as lightning, catches it with one paw before it hits the table. "Got it," Mittens announces proudly, handing the cookie back to Sunny with a playful wink. Sunny giggles, her cheeks turning even rosier. "Oops! Thank you, Mittens." She takes a nibble of the cookie, and her eyes light up. "Biscuit, you're the best baker in all of Merry Soft Meadow." Biscuit chuckles, a low, warm sound like distant thunder on a summer day. "It's just a little butter and spice," he says modestly, but his smile shows how much he appreciates the compliment. Now, with tea and cookies within reach, the 4 friends settle into their work. Outside, the world is quiet except for the occasional whisper of wind and the soft patter of snow against the windows. Inside, there is only the crackle of fire, the gentle clink of teacups, and the peaceful rhythm of friends creating together. Let's spend some time with each of them, watching as they pour their hearts into their crafting. Peach's pink mittens. Peach sits in the armchair closest to the fire, her pink fur glowing rosy in the firelight. She has arranged her workspace with characteristic care. Her crochet hook lies at exactly the right angle. Her ball of pink yarn sits in a small basket to prevent it from rolling away, and she has a little notebook open beside her with a pattern sketched in delicate pencil lines. She picks up her hook. It's made of smooth bamboo, worn soft from years of use, and takes a deep breath. Then, with gentle precision, she begins her foundation chain. Loop, pull through, loop, pull through. Peach's movements are careful and measured. She counts each stitch under her breath, her nose twitching slightly with concentration. The mittens she's making will have a snowflake pattern on the back of each hand, and she wants every stitch to be perfect. In her mind, she can already see them finished. Soft and warm, the perfect shade of dusty rose, with tiny white snowflakes that seem to sparkle. But as she works, little worries begin to creep in, the way they always do. What if the mittens don't fit right? What if the snowflake pattern is too complicated and it doesn't look good? What if my friends don't like them? Peach pauses, her ears drooping slightly. She looks at the small amount of progress she's made, just a few rows, and sighs. Everything okay, Peach? Biscuit asks gently from across the table. He's already noticed the change in her posture, the way her shoulders have tensed. Peach looks up, meeting his warm brown eyes. I want them to be perfect, she admits quietly. These mittens are for all of you, and I want them to be special. What if I make a mistake? Mittens stops her own crocheting to look at Peach, her whiskers twitching thoughtfully. Peach, everything you make is beautiful, she says sincerely. Remember that blanket you made last winter? I still sleep with it every single night. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And mistakes can be fixed, Sunny adds, her voice full of gentle encouragement. I make mistakes all the time, but that's how we learn, right? And besides, we'll love whatever you make because you made it. Peach feels the warmth of her friend's words settling around her like a soft shawl. She smiles, her rosy cheeks brightening. Thank you, she whispers. You're right. I'll just take it one stitch at a time. That's all any of us can do, Biscuit agrees with a nod. And so Peach returns to her work, but this time she tries to quiet her worries. She focuses on the feel of the yarn sliding through her paws, soft as silk. She focuses on the rhythm of the stitches, the gentle repetition that's almost like meditation. She thinks about her friends and how much she loves them. How Biscuit always knows just what to say. How Mittens makes her laugh. How Sunny's enthusiasm is contagious. These mittens will carry that love, Peach thinks. That's what makes them special. Not perfection, but love. Biscuit's cream scarf. Biscuit has moved to the cushioned window seat, where he can watch the snow falling outside as he works. His large paws move slowly but steadily. His crochet hook, the biggest of the four friends, made of smooth cherry wood, creating wide, loose stitches that will make the scarf wonderfully fluffy. The cream-colored yarn is soft beyond measure, like the fleece of a lamb or the inside of a marshmallow. Biscuit works in a simple stitch pattern. Nothing fancy, just row after row of reliable, steady stitches. But what the scarf might lack in complexity, it makes up for in heart. As Biscuit crochets, he thinks about each of his friends. He pictures Peach wearing the scarf, her pink fur peeking out from beneath the cream fabric. He imagines Mittens wrapping herself up in it on a cold morning. He sees Sunny wearing it while they all go sledding, the scarf trailing behind her like a cozy flag. This scarf will keep one of you warm, Biscuit murmurs to himself, his voice a gentle rumble. And warm friends are happy friends. His movements are hypnotic. Pull the yarn, insert the hook, wrap, pull through. Over and over, like waves lapping at a shore. The repetition is soothing, and Biscuit feels his eyelids growing heavy. No, not yet, he tells himself, blinking slowly. Must finish a few more rows first. But the warmth of the fire, the comfort of the window seat, the gentle rhythm of his stitches, all of it conspires to make Biscuit drowsy. His head begins to nod forward, his paws slow. The crochet hook dips. Biscuit! Mittens' voice, playful and fond, cuts through his sleepiness. Don't fall asleep yet. You've only just started. Biscuit's head jerks up, and he blinks in surprise. What? Oh, I wasn't sleeping. I was just resting my eyes. All four friends burst into gentle laughter, the sound filling the cottage like wind chimes in a breeze. Here, Sunny says, bouncing over with the teapot. Let me pour you some more tea. That'll help keep you awake. Biscuit accepts gratefully, taking a long sip of the warm, sweet liquid. Thank you, Sunny. You're very thoughtful. That's what friends are for, Sunny chirps. Refreshed, Biscuit returns to his crocheting with renewed focus. He may be slow and he may get sleepy, but he's also patient and determined. This scarf will be finished, stitch by loving stitch, and it will be the coziest scarf in all of Merry Soft Meadow. Mittens' striped beanie. Mittens is in her element. She's perched on the edge of her chair, her body practically vibrating with energy and excitement. Her orange and white striped yarn is already beginning to take shape. She's working in the round, creating the base of the beanie with quick, nimble movements. Mittens' crochet hook is made of smooth aluminum, and it flashes in the lamplight as she works. She's fast, much faster than her friends, and her stitches are neat and even despite her speed. Every few moments, her tail swishes or her ears twitch, and she has to resist the urge to stop and chase the dust motes floating through the air. This is going to have the biggest, fluffiest pom-pom on top, Mittens announces, her bright eyes sparkling. Bigger than my head? Well, maybe not that big, but pretty big. I can't wait to see it, Peach says warmly. It sounds adorable. It'll be perfect for sledding, Mittens continues, her words tumbling out as fast as her stitches. And I'm going to add a little chin strap so it doesn't fly off when we're zooming down the hill, and maybe some stripes that spiral around and, oh! Mittens suddenly stops, her eyes going wide. She spotted something moving outside the window. Just a shadow, maybe a branch swaying in the wind, or perhaps a little snow sprite dancing past. Mittens? Biscuit asks gently. Everything all right? Mittens shakes her head as if clearing it. Yes. Sorry, I just thought I saw... Never mind. Back to work. But staying focused is hard for Mittens. She crochets a few more rows, then notices Sunny struggling with a stitch. She immediately sets down her work to help. Here, Sunny, try holding your hook like this, Mittens demonstrates, adjusting Sunny's wing placement. See? That way the yarn doesn't slip. Oh, that's so much better. Thank you, Mittens. Sunny beams. Mittens returns to her own project, but moments later, she's distracted again, this time by the sound of the wind whistling gently down the chimney, then by a cookie, crumb on the table that she just has to flick away. Then by wondering if she should add ear flaps to the beanie. Mittens, Peach says gently, a knowing smile on her face. You're doing beautifully, but maybe try to focus on one thing at a time? Mittens' ears flatten sheepishly. You're right. You're right. I just get so excited. There's so much to do and see and think about. That's one of the things we love about you, Biscuit says warmly. Your enthusiasm. Just remember to channel it into your project. Mittens nods determinedly. Okay, focus. I can do this. She picks up her hook again, and this time, she manages to work for several minutes without distraction, her tongue poking out slightly in concentration. The beanie grows row by row, the orange and white stripes creating a cheerful pattern that's so very Mittens, bright, playful, and full of life. Sunny's sky blue sweater. Sunny is working with intense concentration, her little beak set in a determined line. The sky blue yarn is spread out before her, and she's carefully following a pattern from a very old, well-loved book propped open on the table. The sweater she's making is tiny, but intricate. It will have long sleeves, a round neckline, and a hem decorated with little white clouds that Sunny plans to embroider on later. She's chosen the most difficult project of all the friends, but she doesn't mind. Sunny loves a challenge, and she wants this gift to be extra special. Her wings work carefully, holding the hook and guiding the yarn. But Sunny is naturally clumsy, and every few minutes, something goes slightly wrong. The yarn slips from her wing. She catches it with a giggle. She drops her crochet hook. It clatters to the floor, and she hops down to retrieve it, laughing at herself. She accidentally adds an extra stitch. She notices right away and carefully pulls it out, humming as she does. "There we go," Sunny says cheerfully each time she fixes a mistake. Her optimism is unshakable, her good humor infectious. "You're doing wonderfully, Sunny," Peach encourages, looking over at the duckling's progress. "That's going to be the most adorable sweater." "Do you really think so?" Sunny asks, her eyes shining with hope. "I want whoever wears it to feel like they're wrapped up in a warm hug from the sky." "That's beautiful," Biscuit says softly. "What a lovely way to think about it." Sunny beams at the praise and returns to her work with renewed vigor. She might drop things and she might make mistakes, but she never gets discouraged. Each error is just a tiny adventure, a little problem to solve, and she faces each one with laughter and grace. As she crochets, Sunny hums her cheerful tune, and soon Mittens joins in, adding a playful harmony. Then Peach begins to hum along too, her voice soft and sweet. Even Biscuit adds his deep, rumbling note to the melody. The four friends are making music together without even trying, their voices blending like instruments in an orchestra. And somehow, the music makes the crocheting easier, the stitches flowing more smoothly, the yarn seeming to glow a little brighter. The evening deepens. Time passes in that gentle, timeless way it does when you're absorbed in something you love. The fire continues to crackle, burning with its magical, self-sustaining flame. The snow outside piles higher on the windowsills, creating soft, white cushions against the glass. The stars beyond the clouds begin to peek through, twinkling like distant lanterns. Inside the crochet cottage, the four friends work and chat, laugh and sip tea, help each other with tricky stitches, and offer encouragement. There's a rhythm to it all, a peaceful, perfect rhythm that feels like the heartbeat of friendship itself. Peach's mittens are taking shape, the pink yarn forming neat, even rows. Biscuit's scarf is growing longer, fluffy and soft. Mittens' beanie is becoming wonderfully striped and cheerful. Sunny's sweater is intricate and lovely, each tiny stitch placed with care and love. "This is nice," Mittens says quietly, pausing in her work to look around at her friends. "Just being together like this? I think I'll remember this night forever." "Me too," Peach agrees, her eyes soft and warm. "The best Christmas Eves are the simple ones," Biscuit observes. "Good friends, warm fire, gentle snow. What more could anyone need?" "Nothing," Sunny declares. "This is perfect." And it is perfect. It truly is. But outside, something is stirring. The wind is picking up, just a little. It whispers through the peppermint trees, setting their silver bells ringing in a strange, almost musical pattern. The wind carries with it something unusual, a shimmer, a sparkle. a hint of wild magic that doesn't quite belong to Merry Soft Meadow. The friends don't notice. Not yet. They're too absorbed in their crafting, too wrapped up in their peaceful evening together. But the wind is coming closer. It's circling the cottage, playful and curious, drawn by the warmth and light within. It peeks in through the keyhole. It slides under the door. It reaches toward the yarn on the table with invisible, gentle fingers. For now, though, the four friends continue their work, their hearts full, their spirits bright, completely unaware that their peaceful Christmas Eve is about to become something quite extraordinary. Sleep well, dear listener. The magic is coming, soft as snowfall, gentle as a whisper. Segment 3. The magical wind arrives. Something is changing in the air tonight. The fire in the crochet cottage has burned down to a soft glow, its flames dancing lazily like sleepy dancers. Biscuit has just refilled everyone's teacups for the third time, and the cookies have been reduced to just a few crumbs on the plate. The friends have been crocheting for hours now, their projects growing beautifully with each passing minute. Peach has completed several rows of her pink mittens, and the beginning of a snowflake pattern is starting to emerge. She holds her work up to the lamplight, examining it critically. But even she has to admit, it looks good. Biscuit's scarf has reached a respectable length, long enough to wrap around someone's neck at least twice. He's folded it gently beside him, running his paw over the fluffy stitches with satisfaction. Mittens has finished the main body of her beanie and is now working on the brim, her quick paws creating neat, tight stitches that will keep someone's ears wonderfully warm. And Sunny has completed the back panel of her tiny sweater and is just beginning the front. She's had to restart twice due to dropped stitches, but she doesn't mind one bit. "Third time's the charm," she chirped cheerfully. The clock on the mantel, a round wooden piece with a cardinal painted on its face, chimes softly. 10 o'clock. The evening is growing late, and tomorrow is Christmas Day. "Perhaps we should start thinking about bed soon," Peach suggests gently, though her paws continue to work. "We still have tomorrow to finish these before the sledding." "Just a few more rows," Mittens says, her tail swishing. "I'm so close to finishing the body of the beanie." Biscuit agrees sleepily. "Just a few more." But before anyone can crochet another stitch, something changes. At first, it's just a feeling, a slight shift in the air, like the moment before a sneeze or the quiet before a song begins. The flames in the fireplace flutter, though there's no draft. The lanterns on the table flicker briefly, their light dimming and then brightening again. "Did you feel that?" Sunny whispers, her cheerful face turning curious. "Feel what?" Mittens asks, but even as she speaks, her whiskers twitch forward, sensing something unusual. Then they hear it, a sound like wind chimes mixed with whispers, like laughter made of air. It's coming from outside, growing closer with each passing second. Whoosh. The sound is gentle, but unmistakable. Wind, but not ordinary wind. This is something different, something that carries a tingling sensation with it, like the feeling of magic on your tongue when you taste a snowflake. Peach sets down her crocheting carefully, her long ears pricking up. "What is that?" Before anyone can answer, the round lavender door of the cottage suddenly swings open, not violently, but smoothly, as if pushed by invisible hands. A gust of wind sweeps in, but it's not cold. It's pleasantly cool, carrying with it the scent of peppermint and pine. vanilla, and starlight. And the wind is glowing. The four friends stare in wonder as the wind becomes visible. A swirling, dancing ribbon of light that sparkles like diamonds mixed with moonbeams. It's silver and blue and white all at once, shimmering and shifting as it moves. Little motes of light float within it, like tiny stars that have decided to dance. Oh my, Biscuit breathes, his eyes wide. The magical wind swirls into the cottage, moving with purpose and playfulness. It circles the room once, twice, 3 times, making the lanterns flare brightly and the fire leap up with renewed energy. The friends' fur and feathers ruffle gently in its passing, and they can feel the magic tingling across their skin. Not frightening, but exciting, like the first day of spring or the moment you realize you're flying in a dream. It's beautiful, Peach whispers, her honey-colored eyes reflecting the glowing wind. The wind seems to hear her. It swoops down playfully, ruffling Peach's ears gently before spiraling up toward the ceiling. Then it descends again, heading straight for the table where the friends have been working. "Oh no," Mittens says, suddenly realizing what's about to happen. "The yarn!" But it's too late. The magical wind, with all the playfulness of a curious kitten, begins to dance around the balls of yarn on the table. It nudges them gently at first, making them roll and wobble. Then, as if delighted by this new game, the wind picks up speed. The pink ball of yarn rolls across the table. The cream yarn bounces into the air. The striped yarn begins to unravel, its tail streaming behind it. The sky blue yarn spins like a top. "Catch them!" Sunny cries, reaching out with her wings. All 4 friends leap into action. Biscuit lunges for the cream yarn, his large paws just missing it as the wind carries it higher. Mittens springs onto the table with feline grace, trying to bat down the striped yarn. But the magical wind is too quick, whisking it away from her claws. Peach runs after the pink yarn as it rolls toward the open door, but the wind snatches it up at the last second. Sunny flaps her little wings frantically, managing to grab the end of the blue yarn, but the ball itself is pulled from her grip with a gentle but firm tug. The magical wind, now holding all 4 balls of yarn in its invisible grip, swirls around the cottage one more time, as if saying goodbye or perhaps issuing an invitation. The balls of yarn glow within the wind's shimmer, looking like colored stars caught in a galaxy. Then, with a sound like a sigh made of silver bells, the wind flows back out through the open door, carrying the yarn with it. For a moment, the 4 friends stand frozen, staring at the empty doorway. Then, they all rush forward together, tumbling out into the snowy night. Outside, the world has transformed. The sky is clear now, the clouds having parted to reveal a canopy of stars so bright and numerous they look like spilled sugar. The moon hangs full and round, casting everything in silver light. The snow on the ground sparkles as if mixed with glitter, and the peppermint trees seem to glow from within, their candy-striped bark pulsing gently with a soft, warm light. And there, dancing through the meadow toward the forest beyond, is the magical wind, still carrying the 4 balls of yarn. "Our yarn!" Peach exclaims, her voice a mixture of worry and wonder. "It's going into the Enchanted Forest," Biscuit observes, pointing with one large paw. The Enchanted Forest lies at the edge of Merry Soft Meadow, a place where the trees grow taller and the shadows grow deeper, where magic is old and strong and not always predictable. The friends have ventured to its edges before, but never very far in, and never at night. "We have to get it back," Mittens says, already taking a step forward. "We need that yarn to finish our gifts." "But it's nighttime," Peach says uncertainly, her rosy cheeks pale in the moonlight. "And the forest is so dark, and what if we get lost?" "We won't get lost if we stick together," Biscuit says reassuringly, though his voice carries a hint of concern. "And besides, we can see the yarn. Look, it's glowing." He's right. In the magical wind's grasp, the 4 balls of yarn have become luminous, each one shining with its own color: pink, cream, orange and white, and sky blue. They're like beacons, lighting the way through the darkness. "We can't leave them," Sunny says firmly, her usual cheerfulness replaced by determination. "Those aren't just balls of yarn. They're our gifts. They're our friendship. We have to go after them." The 4 friends look at each other, and in that moment, a silent understanding passes between them. Yes, this is unexpected. Yes, it might be a little scary, but they're together, and together, they can do anything. "We'll need lanterns," Peach says, her practical nature asserting itself. "And maybe some warm cocoa in a thermos. And courage," Biscuit adds gently. "But I think we have plenty of that already." "Adventure!" Mittens cries, her spirits lifting. Her bright eyes sparkle with excitement. "This is going to be amazing!" "An adventure on Christmas Eve," Sunny agrees, her smile returning. "That's even better than a story." They hurry back into the cottage, moving quickly but not frantically. Biscuit goes to the kitchen and retrieves a large wicker basket, which he begins to fill with supplies: a thermos of hot cocoa, some extra cookies, a tin of candied nuts, and a warm blanket. Mittens grabs 4 lanterns from a shelf, checking to make sure each one has a fresh candle inside. Peach finds their winter scarves. She wraps her soft blue one around her neck and helps Sunny with her little red one. Sunny retrieves mittens for everyone, not the ones Peach is making, but everyday mittens from the coat rack by the door. Within minutes, they're ready. Each friend holds a glowing lantern, casting circles of golden light around them. Biscuit carries the basket over one arm. They're dressed warmly, prepared as best they can be. They gather at the door one more time, looking out at the magical night before them. The wind has paused at the edge of the forest, as if waiting for them. The balls of yarn bob gently in its invisible grasp, their colors bright and inviting. A trail of sparkles marks the wind's path through the snow, like luminous breadcrumbs leading the way. "Ready?" Biscuit asks, looking at each of his friends in turn. "Ready," Peach says, though her voice trembles just slightly. "Ready!" Mittens practically shouts, bouncing on her paws. "Ready!" Sunny chirps, her enthusiasm restored in full. "Then let's go," Biscuit says. "Stay close together, follow the light, and remember, we're not just chasing yarn, we're on an adventure together." With that, the 4 friends step out into the magical Christmas Eve night, their lanterns swinging gently at their sides, their hearts beating with a mixture of nervousness and excitement. The snow crunches softly beneath their feet, a sound like eating sugar cookies. The air tastes sweet and clean, carrying that special quality that only winter air has. Above them, the stars seem to lean down closer, as if wanting to watch what happens next. The magical wind, seeing them coming, begins to move again, leading them forward with its shimmering, dancing light. Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny follow, walking close together, their lanterns creating a warm bubble of light around them. The crochet cottage falls away behind them, its windows still glowing cheerfully, as if encouraging them onward. And ahead, the enchanted forest awaits, its tall trees dark against the starlit sky, its depths full of mystery and magic. Here we go, Mittens whispers, her tail swishing with anticipation. Here we go, the others echo, and together they walk forward into the beginning of an adventure they'll remember for the rest of their lives, an adventure about friendship, about courage, about the lengths we'll go to for the ones we love, and about the magic that lives in the world when we're brave enough to chase it. Sleep softly, dear friend. The forest is calling, and our friends are brave together. Segment 4. Entering the Enchanted Winter Forest, where shadows dance and magic lives in every tree. The moment Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny step past the last row of peppermint trees and into the enchanted forest proper, the world changes. It's not frightening, not exactly, but it is different. The forest has its own rules, its own rhythm, its own sense of wonder that's both ancient and alive. The trees here are enormous, their trunks wider than 3 biscuits standing side by side, their branches reaching up so high that they seem to brush the stars themselves. The bark is a silvery gray that catches the moonlight, and if you look closely, very closely, you can see tiny doors and windows carved into the trunks, suggesting that small magical creatures might make their homes within. Snow covers everything, of course, but here in the forest, the snow seems deeper, softer, more like down from a cloud than mere frozen water. When the friends step, their feet sink in just a little, and each step makes a soft shh sound, as if the forest is asking for quiet. Stay together, Biscuit reminds everyone, gently, though they hardly need reminding. All 4 friends are walking so close they're practically touching, their lanterns creating overlapping circles of warm golden light. Above them, the branches form a canopy that filters the moonlight, creating intricate patterns of silver and shadow on the snow below. Here and there, icicles hang from the branches, not threatening or sharp, but delicate and beautiful, like frozen tears of joy. Some of them are quite long, and they catch the lantern light, refracting it into tiny rainbows that dance across the snow. It's so beautiful, Peach whispers, her honey-colored eyes wide with wonder. Despite her earlier nervousness, she can't help but be enchanted by the magic all around them. And so quiet, Sunny adds in an equally soft voice. Indeed, the forest is remarkably quiet, but it's not the scary kind of quiet. It's peaceful, expectant, like a theater just before the curtain rises. Ahead of them, the magical wind continues to dance and swirl, still carrying the 4 balls of yarn. The colors glow brilliantly against the snowy backdrop, pink and cream and striped orange and sky blue, like colored stars leading the way. The wind moves slowly enough that the friends can follow without rushing, but quickly enough that they must keep walking. It's like the wind wants us to follow, Mittens observes, her bright eyes tracking the movement of the yarn. Like this is all on purpose. Maybe it is, Biscuit says thoughtfully. Magic often has a purpose, even if we don't understand it right away. As they walk deeper into the forest, new wonders reveal themselves with every step. They pass a frozen stream, its surface solid ice. But underneath, they can see the water still flowing, moving in impossible ways, creating swirls and patterns that sparkle with bioluminescent light. Little ice crystals jut up from the stream's surface like miniature mountains, and when the lantern light hits them, they cast dancing shadows on the surrounding snow. They walk beneath an arch formed by 2 trees that have grown together, their branches intertwining like clasped hands. As the friends pass underneath, a gentle sprinkle of something soft and glittering falls on them. Not snow, but something else. Flower petals, perhaps, or perhaps just concentrated moonlight. Whatever it is, it smells like vanilla and cinnamon and makes them all smile. They see tiny tracks in the snow, little paw prints and wing marks from forest creatures, though the creatures themselves remain hidden. Peach wonders what animals live here. Mittens hopes they're friendly. Sunny imagines they're all hiding just behind the trees, watching with curious eyes. Biscuit trusts that they mean no harm. "Look!" Sunny suddenly exclaims, pointing with one wing. "There!" They all follow her gaze and gasp together. Floating through the air, weaving between the trees like lazy swimmers in a gentle current, are little lights. They're about the size of Sunny's head, perfectly round, and they glow with soft, warm colors, gold and amber, soft pink and pale green. They drift without urgency, leaving tiny trails of sparkles behind them. "Will-o-wisps?" Peach wonders aloud. "Forest lights," Biscuit corrects gently. "I've read about them. They're spirits of happiness, formed from laughter and good memories. They're drawn to kindness and joy." As if hearing Biscuit's words, several of the forest lights drift closer to the friends, circling around them in a slow, graceful dance. The light they cast is different from the lantern's light, softer, dreamier, making everything look like it's part of a watercolor painting. Mittens can't resist. She reaches out one paw, trying to touch one of the lights. It dodges playfully, bobbing away from her, and Mittens' whiskers twitch with delight. "Hey, come back!" she calls, her voice full of laughter. The forest light seems to giggle, if light can giggle, and dances just out of reach, as if inviting Mittens to play. "Mittens, we need to keep moving," Peach says gently, though she's smiling at her friend's playfulness. I know," Mittens replies, but her eyes stay on the forest lights, which continue to drift alongside them as they walk, like friendly escorts through the magical woods. The path they're following isn't really a path at all, but the friends don't feel lost. The glowing yarn ahead of them provides direction, and the forest itself seems to be guiding them, trees spacing themselves to allow easy passage, fallen logs positioned like natural bridges over small dips in the terrain. "The forest is helping us," Sunny says with certainty. "It wants us to follow the wind." "But why?" Peach wonders. "Where is it taking us?" "I suppose we'll find out," Biscuit says calmly. His steady presence is reassuring, and the friends find their nervousness melting away bit by bit. Yes, this is unexpected. Yes, they're in unfamiliar territory. But they're together, and somehow, that makes everything an adventure rather than something to fear. As they continue walking, they begin to notice more details of the forest. Mushrooms grow in clusters at the bases of trees. Not ordinary mushrooms, but ones that glow with gentle phosphorescence. Some are blue, some are purple, some are soft pink. They're like natural nightlights, and they cast the snow around them in pools of color. Frost has formed intricate patterns on the tree trunks, swirls and spirals, images that almost look like faces or creatures, though they shift and change when you look at them from different angles. Sunny is convinced she sees a picture of a cat in one pattern. Mittens insists it's clearly a duck. They laugh together, their voices soft, but full of joy. The branches above them occasionally shower down little cascades of snow when the wind blows through. But the snow is so light and fluffy that it feels more like being dusted with powdered sugar than anything cold or uncomfortable. Each time it happens, Sunny giggles with delight, holding out her wings to catch the flakes. This isn't scary at all, Mitten says, her earlier excitement now mixed with a sense of peaceful wonder. It's like walking through a dream. A good dream, Peach agrees, and realizes with surprise that she's not worried anymore. Her usual anxieties have quieted, replaced by simple wonder. There's something about this forest, something about this night that feels safe despite being strange. Ahead of them, the magical wind begins to slow, and the balls of yarn it carries start to descend, drifting down toward the forest floor like bubbles settling. It's stopping, Biscuit observes. The friends quicken their pace slightly, their lanterns swinging, their breath creating little puffs of mist in the cool air. The forest lights follow them, bobbing encouragingly. They enter a small clearing, a circular space where the trees have drawn back, leaving an open area carpeted in pristine white snow. In the center of the clearing stands something unexpected, a large, flat stone, smooth as glass and dark as night. Snow has piled on its edges, but its surface is clear, reflecting the stars above like a mirror. And there, resting on the stone, are the 4 balls of yarn. The magical wind is nowhere to be seen. It has vanished as mysteriously as it appeared, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air and the lingering scent of peppermint and starlight. "Our yarn!" Sunny exclaims, waddling forward eagerly. But before anyone can reach the stone, something happens. The forest lights that have been following them suddenly converge on the clearing, joining dozens more that appear from between the trees. They form a circle around the friends and the stone, their glow intensifying, brightening, until the entire clearing is illuminated as brightly as day, but softer, gentler, like being inside a snow globe made of light. And then, emerging from the forest on all sides, come the creatures who call this place home. First to appear are the foxes, 3 of them, with fur the color of autumn leaves dusted with white. Their eyes are intelligent and kind, and they move with graceful silence, their bushy tails leaving delicate trails in the snow. Next come the owls, 5 of them, their feathers ranging from snow white to midnight brown. They land on low branches, their large eyes blinking slowly, wisely, as they observe the 4 friends. Rabbits emerge from beneath the bushes, not pink like Peach, but gray and brown and spotted, their ears twitching, their noses wiggling curiously. A family of deer step into the clearing, their antlers looking like bare tree branches crowned with snow. They're so tall and stately that even Biscuit looks small beside them. And last come the snow sprites, magical beings that look like they're made entirely of frost and starlight, barely visible, more like impressions of creatures than solid forms. They drift through the air like the forest lights, their presence felt more than seen. The 4 friends stand very still, holding their lanterns, their eyes wide, their hearts beating fast. Not with fear, but with awe. "Hello?" Biscuit says softly, his deep voice gentle and respectful. The creatures don't speak, not with words anyway, but they communicate in other ways. The tilt of a fox's head, the slow blink of an owl, the stamp of a deer's hoof, the swirl of a snow sprite. They're saying welcome. They're saying we've been expecting you. They're saying don't be afraid. They're beautiful, Peach whispers, tears of wonder prickling at her eyes. One of the foxes, the largest, with a magnificent tail and knowing eyes, steps forward. It walks directly to the stone where the yarn rests and sits down, as if standing guard. Then it looks at the 4 friends and tilts its head toward the yarn, as if to say, "Come, take what is yours, but first, you must do something for us." "What does it want?" Sunny whispers. "I think," Mittens says slowly, her clever mind working, "I think this is a test. Or maybe not a test, but a challenge? Something we need to do before we can have our yarn back." "A quest within a quest," Biscuit muses. "How very magical." The largest fox stands and walks to each friend in turn, looking at them with its bright, intelligent eyes. When it reaches Peach, it pauses longest, and Peach feels as though the fox is seeing straight through to her heart, reading all her fears and hopes and dreams. Then the fox returns to the stone and barks once. A sharp, clear sound that echoes through the clearing. From the forest, 4 more creatures emerge. They're smaller than the others, and they look sad. A young rabbit with a torn ear, a baby owl with ruffled feathers, a fawn with a slight limp, and a tiny snow sprite that flickers weakly, as if its light is fading. The message is clear. These creatures need help. Help them, and your yarn will be returned. The 4 friends look at each other, and no words are needed. Of course they'll help. That's what friends do. That's what kind hearts do. "We'll do whatever you need," Peach says to the fox, her voice steady and sure. The fox's eyes seem to smile, and all around the clearing, the gathered creatures settle down to watch. Their attention focused on the 4 friends and the 4 creatures who need them. This is where the adventure truly begins. Not with danger or darkness, but with compassion and courage. With the simple choice to help those who need it, even when you're on a quest of your own. Sleep gently, dear friend. Help is coming. Soft as snowfall, warm as friendship. Segment 5. Meeting Forest Creatures. Fox, Snow Sprites. In the heart of the forest, kindness becomes the strongest magic. The clearing is hushed and expectant, every creature watching to see what the 4 friends will do. The forest lights hover above like concerned stars, casting gentle shadows that dance across the snow. Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny exchange glances, and then, without a word, they each move toward one of the creatures who needs help. It's as if some invisible thread has drawn each friend to the one they're meant to help. The one whose problem matches their own particular gifts and challenges. Let's watch as each friend faces their own small test of heart and character. Peach and the young rabbit. Peach approaches the young rabbit slowly, carefully, not wanting to frighten the little one. The rabbit is small, barely bigger than Sunny, with soft gray fur and eyes like dark pools of worry. But it's the rabbit's ear that catches Peach's attention. The left ear has a tear in it, not bleeding, but clearly causing discomfort. The edges of the tear are clean, as if caught on a bramble, and while it will heal on its own, it must be uncomfortable. Peach kneels down in the snow, setting her lantern beside her. The young rabbit watches her warily, its nose twitching rapidly. "Hello, little one," Peach says softly, her voice like honey poured over silk. "I'm Peach. May I help you?" The rabbit doesn't speak. Forest rabbits rarely do, but it takes a tentative hop forward, which Peach takes as permission. She reaches into her apron pocket, which is always full of useful things, and pulls out a small tin. Inside is a salve she made herself from herbs and honey, something she keeps on hand for minor scrapes and scratches. But as she looks at the rabbit's torn ear, Peach feels her old worries creeping back. What if I make it worse? What if my paws are too clumsy? What if the rabbit doesn't like me touching its ear? What if... Peach! Biscuit's voice, gentle and reassuring, floats across the clearing. You've got this. Remember, one step at a time. Peach takes a deep breath, and the breath seems to carry away her worries like dandelion seeds on the wind. She opens the tin, and the scent of lavender and chamomile rises into the air. This might feel a little cool, Peach warns the rabbit, but it will help the hurt go away. With infinite gentleness, Peach dabs a tiny bit of salve onto her paw, then carefully applies it to the edges of the rabbit's torn ear. Her movements are slow and precise, her touch feather-light. The rabbit flinches slightly at first, but then relaxes, as if realizing that Peach means only kindness. Peach works carefully, making sure the salve covers the entire tear. Then, from another pocket, she pulls out a small piece of soft cloth. So soft, it's almost like silk. She tears off a thin strip, and with practiced movements, creates a tiny bandage that she wraps gently around the rabbit's ear, securing it with the smallest knot she can manage. There, Peach says, sitting back to admire her work. All better. The bandage will fall off on its own in a day or two, and by then, your ear will be healed. The young rabbit's eyes brighten. It hops forward and rubs its head against Peach's paw, the rabbit equivalent of a hug, and Peach feels warmth bloom in her chest. You're welcome, she whispers, stroking the rabbit's soft head. The large fox, still sitting by the stone with the yarn, nods its head once in approval. Around the clearing, several of the rabbit families thump their hind legs gently, a sign of respect and gratitude. Peach realizes something important. Her worry hadn't helped her at all. What had helped was focusing on the task at hand, trusting her knowledge and her gentle touch, and simply doing her best. The perfectionism she often struggled with had melted away in the face of a creature who truly needed her help. Sometimes, Peach thinks, the best way to stop worrying is to start helping. Biscuit and the baby owl. Across the clearing, Biscuit has approached the baby owl, who sits on a low branch, its feathers all ruffled and askew. The little owl looks miserable, its large eyes half closed, as if it hasn't slept in days despite the late hour. Biscuit recognizes the problem immediately. He's felt it himself many times. The baby owl isn't hurt. It's simply overwhelmed and exhausted, too wound up to rest, even though rest is what it needs most. Can't sleep? Biscuit asks gently, settling himself in the snow beneath the branch. The baby owl hoots softly, a tired, plaintive sound. I understand, Biscuit says, his deep voice a rumbling comfort. Sometimes the world feels too big and too busy, and our minds won't quiet down enough to let us rest. He reaches into the basket he's been carrying and pulls out the warm blanket. It's big and fluffy, woven from the softest wool, in a color like warm cream. Biscuit shakes it out gently and drapes it over a nearby branch, creating a sort of hammock or nest. Come here, little one, Biscuit invites, patting the blanket. The baby owl flutters down, landing somewhat clumsily in the blanket nest. Biscuit tucks the edges around the little bird, creating a cozy cocoon with just the owl's face peeking out. "Now then," Biscuit says, settling himself comfortably against the tree trunk. "Let me tell you something my mother told me when I was a cub and couldn't sleep. She said that sleep is like a friend who's waiting for you, but you have to invite them in. You can't chase sleep. It runs away from chasing. You have to be still and calm and welcoming, and sleep will come to you." The baby owl blinks its large eyes, listening. Biscuit continues in his warm, steady voice. "And do you know what helps? Thinking of all the good things from the day. Even when days are hard, there are always small good things. The way the sun looked through the trees, the taste of a berry, the sound of a friend's laughter." As Biscuit talks, his voice takes on a rhythmic quality, soothing and hypnotic. He talks about the snow falling softly, about the warmth of the fire in the cottage, about the joy of working with yarn and creating something with your own paws. He talks slowly, peacefully, with long pauses between thoughts. The baby owl's eyes begin to droop. Its head starts to sink into the fluffy blanket. Its breathing slows and deepens. "That's right," Biscuit murmurs. "Just let go. Sleep is here, and it's your friend. Close your eyes and rest, little one. The forest will watch over you." Within minutes, the baby owl is fast asleep, breathing deeply and peacefully, its feathers no longer ruffled, but smooth and soft. Biscuit carefully rises, making sure not to disturb the sleeping bird. He looks at it with satisfaction and tenderness. His tendency to be slow and sleepy, something he sometimes sees as a weakness, has just become a strength. His natural calm and his understanding of rest have helped this little creature find peace. The large fox nods again, and several of the other owls in the trees hoot softly in approval. Biscuit smiles his gentle smile. Sometimes, he thinks, the things we think are weaknesses are actually our greatest gifts. Mittens and the Fawn. Mittens has found herself with the young deer, a fawn with spots still visible on its coat and eyes like liquid chocolate. The fawn stands a little apart from the others, and Mittens quickly sees why. It has a slight limp. Its back right leg doesn't seem injured, but something is clearly not right. "Hey there," Mittens says, approaching with her characteristic energy. But she notices the fawn flinch, so she immediately slows down, moderating her usual bouncy enthusiasm. "Sorry, I know I can be a lot sometimes. Let me try that again. Hi, I'm Mittens. What's wrong with your leg?" The fawn takes a hesitant step forward, then stops, clearly in discomfort. Mittens circles around to look at the leg more closely, her bright eyes examining carefully. She sees the problem almost immediately. There's a stone, a small but sharp pebble, lodged in the soft part of the fawn's hoof. It's not deeply embedded, but it's definitely causing pain with every step. "Oh, I see it," Mitten says. "That must hurt a lot. But I can get it out. Hold still, okay? This might tickle a little, but I promise I'll be quick." The fawn looks uncertain, but the mother deer steps closer, nuzzling her baby encouragingly. The fawn holds still. Mitten's paws, usually so quick and playful, are now focused and precise. This is the flip side of her clever quickness. When she channels it properly, she can be remarkably skilled. She reaches for the lodged pebble, her claws working carefully, and with a quick, deft movement, she pulls it free. The fawn immediately lifts its leg, testing it, and then, joy! It takes a step without limping, then another. Then, in a burst of happiness, it prances in a small circle, kicking up little poofs of snow. Mittens laughs with delight, clapping her paws together. Yes, you're all better. But the fawn isn't done thanking Mittens. It returns and gently bumps its nose against Mittens' head. A dear kiss. Mittens' whiskers twitch with pleasure, and she feels a warm glow of pride. She realizes something important. Her quick, clever nature isn't just about being easily distracted or playful. It's about being able to see solutions quickly, to act decisively when needed, to use her energy for good purposes. She just needs to remember to focus it. The large fox nods once more, and the deer family all bow their heads in gratitude. Sometimes, Mittens thinks, being quick isn't the same as being scattered. Speed can be a gift when used wisely. Sunny and the snow sprite. Sunny waddles toward the tiny snow sprite, which is flickering weakly at the edge of the clearing. Up close, Sunny can see that the sprite is beautiful, made of crystallized air and frozen starlight, with a form that shifts between looking like a tiny person, a snowflake, and a wisp of mist. But the sprite is fading. Its light pulses weakly, like a candle about to go out. "Oh, you poor thing," Sunny says, her natural optimism immediately shifting into concern. "What's wrong? How can I help?" The snow sprite can't speak with words, but it communicates through feelings, and Sunny, with her open, loving heart, can sense what it's trying to say. The sprite is lonely. It has been alone too long, separated from its family of sprites, and without connection, without joy. It's beginning to fade away. Snow sprites, you see, are made from happiness and wonder. Without those things, they can't survive. Sunny understands immediately. She knows about the importance of joy, of laughter, of connection. It's who she is, what she brings to every situation. "Well, that won't do at all," Sunny declares. "You need some cheer, some happiness, some fun." She sets down her lantern and begins to dance. A silly, wonderful, sunny kind of dance. She waddles in circles, flaps her wings, and spins until she's slightly dizzy. She hums her cheerful tune, the one she's always humming, letting it fill the air with bright, bubbly notes. At first, the snow sprite just watches, flickering weakly. But then, slowly, something begins to change. The sprite's light brightens just a little. Its form becomes slightly more solid. Encouraged, Sunny dances harder, sillier, more joyfully. She makes up a song on the spot. "In the snow we dance and play on this magical Christmas day. With friends beside us, warm and bright, everything will be all right." She beckons to Peach, Biscuit, and Mittens. "Come on, dance with me. We need to fill this sprite with joy." Her friends, without hesitation, join in. Peach dances carefully, but with a gentle smile. Biscuit sways slowly, his movements creating a steady rhythm. Mittens leaps and spins with wild abandon. And Sunny leads them all, her laughter ringing out like bells. The forest lights above them begin to dance too, swirling and dipping. The forest creatures watch with what can only be described as smiles. Even the serious fox's tail begins to wag slightly. And the snow sprite? It's glowing brightly now. Its form strong and vibrant. It zips through the air, leaving trails of silver sparkles. Its joy restored through the joy the friends have shared. The sprite circles around Sunny, showering her with tiny snowflakes that feel like kisses, and Sunny laughs and laughs and laughs, her heart full to bursting. She realizes something wonderful: her clumsiness, her tendency to drop things and trip over her own feet. None of that matters. What matters is her ability to bring joy, to spread happiness, to lift spirits with her pure, unshakable optimism. That's her real gift, and it's more powerful than any physical grace could ever be. The large fox rises from its position by the stone. It walks forward, and all the creatures in the clearing follow, forming a circle around the four friends. The fox barks 3 times, a sound of approval, of respect, of gratitude. Then, one by one, the creatures begin to bring the yarn balls to the friends. The young rabbit, its ear now bandaged, carefully rolls the pink yarn to Peach. The baby owl, still wrapped in Biscuit's blanket, is gently carried by its mother, who drops the cream yarn at Biscuit's feet. The fawn, now prancing happily, nudges the striped orange and white yarn to Mittens. And the snow sprite, glowing brilliantly, carries the sky blue yarn through the air and places it gently in Sunny's wings. The four friends hold their yarn, their hearts full of emotion. They came into the forest chasing what they'd lost, but they've found something more important. They've discovered that their perceived weaknesses are actually strengths, that helping others helps ourselves, that kindness is its own reward. The large fox steps forward one last time. It touches its nose to each friend's hand or paw or wing, a gesture of blessing. Then it turns and walks back into the forest, and all the other creatures follow, disappearing into the trees like dreams fading at dawn. Only the forest lights remain, hovering above the four friends, casting their gentle glow. That was... Peach begins, but trails off, unable to find words. Magical, Biscuit finishes softly. Amazing, Mittens adds, her eyes shining. Perfect, Sunny whispers. They stand together in the clearing for a moment longer, clutching their yarn, feeling the weight of what just happened. They've been changed by this experience, each in their own small way. They've grown. But the night isn't over yet. The forest lights begin to move, drifting away from the clearing, leading deeper into the woods. I think they want us to follow, Mittens observes. But we have our yarn, Peach says. We could go home now. We could, Biscuit agrees. But somehow, I don't think we're meant to. Not yet. More adventure, Sunny says, her enthusiasm renewed. Come on, let's see where they lead us. And so, with their yarn safely tucked into Biscuit's basket, with their hearts fuller and their courage stronger, the four friends follow the forest lights deeper into the Enchanted Forest, toward whatever wonders await them next. Sleep peacefully, dear friend. The night holds more magic still, gentle as starlight, warm as love. Segment 6. The Frozen Pond and the Helpful Penguins, where ice becomes a mirror and laughter rings like bells. The forest lights lead the four friends along a winding path that slopes gently downward. The trees here are spaced wider apart, their branches draped with what looks like silver tinsel, though it might just be frost that catches the moonlight in particularly beautiful ways. The air has grown slightly cooler, and there's a new quality to it, something fresh and clean that tastes like peppermint on the tongue. Do you hear that? Mittens asks, her ears perked forward. They all stop and listen. At first, there's only the usual forest quiet, the soft whisper of wind through branches, the occasional creak of a tree settling in the cold. But then, faintly, they hear it. A sound like wind chimes mixed with distant laughter, with an underlying note of something else. Splashing? No, not quite splashing. Sliding. What is that? Sunny wonders, waddling a little faster. The forest lights bob ahead encouragingly, and the friends follow, their curiosity growing with each step. The path curves around a massive oak tree, whose trunk is so gnarled and ancient it looks like it might contain entire kingdoms within its bark. As they round the tree, the forest suddenly opens up. "Oh!" Peach gasps, and they all stop in their tracks. Before them lies a frozen pond, but not just any pond. This is a pond touched by deep magic, and it shows. The pond is perfectly circular, as if drawn by a compass, and its ice is clear as crystal, smooth as glass. You can see straight through to the bottom, where stones and water plants create patterns like abstract art. But the truly magical thing is the way the ice captures light. The moon shines down on it, and the surface reflects not just the moon, but somehow the entire night sky, stars and all, as if the pond is a window into space itself. Around the edges of the pond, snow has piled in soft drifts, creating natural seats and slopes. Frost flowers bloom from the ice in delicate spirals. Actual flowers made of ice crystals, in the shapes of roses and daisies and lilies, frozen in eternal bloom. And there, in the middle of the pond, standing on the ice as comfortably as if it were solid ground, is a sight that makes all four friends blink in surprise. A family of penguins. Not just any penguins, mind you, but penguins that clearly don't belong in an ordinary forest. They're small and round, with tuxedo black backs and snow-white fronts, with bright orange beaks and feet. Their eyes are large and expressive, giving them faces full of personality and intelligence. There are 6 of them, 2 adults and 4 youngsters, and they're sliding across the ice with obvious joy, their flippers outstretched for balance. "Penguins?" Biscuit says, his voice colored with wonder and confusion. "In the forest?" "Magic penguins," Mittens corrects, her whiskers twitching with excitement. "Obviously." One of the adult penguins spots the 4 friends and lets out a cheerful squawk. It waddles to the edge of the pond. Penguins on land always look like they're on a very important mission, even when they're not, and stands there, head cocked, examining the visitors. Hello," Peach says politely, setting down her lantern and taking a small step forward. "We're sorry to disturb you. We're just following the forest lights." The penguin squawks again, this time in a pattern that sounds almost like speech. Of course, our friends don't speak penguin, but somehow the meaning comes through clearly. "Welcome! We've been expecting you. Come join us." The other penguins have all stopped their sliding and have gathered at the edge of the ice, looking at the friends with friendly curiosity. "I think they want us to come onto the ice," Sunny says, her eyes bright. "But we might slip," Peach worries, looking at the smooth, glassy surface. "What if we fall?" The first adult penguin seems to understand her concern. It slides back onto the ice, then deliberately tips forward and lands on its round belly with a soft plop. It slides across the ice on its belly, looking absolutely delighted, before standing up again and squawking what can only be a penguin laugh. The message is clear. Falling is part of the fun. "Well," Biscuit says with his gentle smile, "shall we?" They leave their lanterns at the edge of the pond. The ice itself seems to glow with its own light, and between that and the moon and stars reflected in its surface. There's more than enough illumination. Biscuit carefully places his basket with the yarn in a safe, dry spot on the snowy bank. Then, one by one, they step onto the ice. Mittens goes first. Naturally, Mittens is the first to venture out. She steps onto the ice with confidence, and immediately her paws slide out from under her. "Whoa!" she exclaims, windmilling her front legs for balance. The penguins squawk encouragingly. One of the youngsters waddles over and demonstrates. It takes small, sliding steps, keeping its center of gravity low, using its flippers for balance. Mittens watches carefully, then tries again. This time, she gets the hang of it. She takes a sliding step, then another, and soon she's gliding across the ice with increasing confidence. "This is amazing!" she calls back to her friends. Then, either by accident or on purpose, with Mittens it's hard to tell, she throws herself down on her belly and slides across the ice, her tail streaming behind her like a banner. The penguins squawk with approval, and several of them join her, sliding alongside in a joyful parade. Sunny's enthusiastic attempt. Sunny doesn't hesitate for even a moment. She waddles onto the ice with her characteristic optimism and immediately, predictably, slips. Her feet go in 4 different directions, and she lands on her bottom with a soft thump and a surprised, "Oof!" The penguins, being penguins and therefore understanding exactly what it's like to be somewhat clumsy on your feet, immediately waddle over to help. 2 of the youngsters position themselves on either side of Sunny, offering their flippers for support. With their help, Sunny manages to stand. "Thank you," Sunny giggles. "You're so kind." The penguins guide her across the ice, teaching her the penguin shuffle, that distinctive side-to-side waddle that somehow keeps penguins stable. Sunny picks it up quickly, and soon she's waddling alongside her penguin friends, laughing the whole time. When she does fall again, which happens twice more, she simply laughs it off, and the penguins join her on the ground, sliding on their bellies in solidarity. If Sunny can find joy in falling, well, so can they. Peach's careful progress. Peach watches Mittens and Sunny with a mixture of amusement and trepidation. Her careful nature makes her hesitant about the slippery ice, but she doesn't want to miss out on the fun either. She places one paw on the ice experimentally. It slides a little, and she quickly pulls it back. One of the adult penguins notices her hesitation and waddles over. It looks up at her with kind, understanding eyes, then offers its flipper. The penguin is saying, "I've got you. You won't fall. Trust me." Peach takes a deep breath, and then she takes the penguin's flipper. Together, they step onto the ice. The penguin moves slowly, patiently, adjusting its pace to match Peach's. When Peach's paws start to slide, the penguin shifts its weight to help stabilize her. Step by careful step, they cross the ice. And gradually, Peach feels her fear melting away. She starts to enjoy the sensation of gliding, the way the ice is so smooth beneath her paws, the way the reflected stars seem to surround her. "I'm doing it!" she calls to her friends, her voice full of surprised delight. "You are!" Biscuit calls back proudly. By the time Peach reaches the middle of the pond, she's smiling widely. The penguin releases her flipper and squawks approvingly. Peach has discovered something important. With support and patience, she can do things that scared her. She doesn't have to be perfect or fearless. She just has to be willing to try. Biscuit's steady journey. Biscuit approaches the ice with his characteristic calm. He's heavy, heavier than his friends, and he's briefly concerned that he might crack the ice. But the magic of this place is strong, and the ice holds firm beneath his weight. He steps onto the surface and immediately feels his paws beginning to slide. But Biscuit doesn't panic. He simply lowers his center of gravity, bends his knees slightly, and moves with slow, deliberate patience. One step, then another, then another. The penguins gather around him, not to help, but to accompany. They match his pace, waddling alongside him, squawking soft encouragement. Biscuit feels like he's leading a parade. When he reaches the center of the pond, where his friends are gathered, he sits down carefully on the ice. The others join him, and the penguins form a circle around them all. For a moment, they simply sit together in the middle of the frozen pond, looking up at the stars reflected in the ice beneath them and scattered across the sky above them. It feels like they're floating in space, suspended between two universes of light. "This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen," Peach whispers. "Me too," the others agree in quiet unison. The penguins seem to understand that this is a moment for reflection, for peace, for simply being. They stand still, almost like they're meditating, their small forms dark against the glowing ice. Then, one of the young penguins breaks the silence with an excited squawk. It slides over to the edge of the circle and makes a gesture with its flipper, a clear invitation. The other penguins immediately respond. They begin to line up at one end of the pond, where the bank rises slightly, creating a natural slope down to the ice. "Oh," Sunny realizes, "they want to sled, or slide, on the ice." Indeed, that's exactly what they want. The first penguin climbs the snowy bank, positions itself at the top, tucks its flippers to its sides, and pushes off. It slides down the slope and across the ice, spinning slightly, clearly having the time of its life. At the end of its slide, it stands up, shakes itself, and squawks triumphantly. The other penguins follow, one after another, each slide accompanied by squawks of joy and flapping flippers. "We should try," Mittens exclaims, already moving toward the slope. "But we don't have our sleds," Peach points out. The largest penguin squawks and gestures with its flipper. The meaning is clear. You don't need sleds. Watch. It demonstrates, showing how to sit at the top of the slope, tuck your arms or paws or wings close to your body, and simply let go, letting gravity and the slippery ice do the rest. Mittens immediately scrambles up the bank. "Here I go," she announces, and without any hesitation, she pushes herself forward. She slides down the slope and across the ice, her tail streaming behind her, her mouth open in a wide smile of pure joy. "Whee!" she cries, her voice echoing across the pond. Sunny is right behind her, sliding on her bottom with her wings spread for balance, giggling the entire way. She spins in a circle as she slides, making herself dizzy but not caring one bit. Biscuit goes next, his larger size giving him momentum. He slides across the ice with impressive speed, and when he finally comes to a stop, he's laughing, a deep, warm sound that fills the night with happiness. Peach is the last to try. She sits at the top of the slope, her heart beating fast, but she remembers what she learned when she stepped onto the ice. With courage and trust, she can do things that scare her. She closes her eyes, takes a breath, and pushes off. The sensation is incredible. The rush of cool air, the smoothness of the slide, the feeling of letting go and trusting that everything will be all right. When she opens her eyes, she's gliding across the ice under a canopy of stars, surrounded by friends and magical penguins, and she's laughing, She's actually laughing. When she comes to a stop, she sits there for a moment, breathless and amazed. She did it. She let go of her worry and her need for control, and it was wonderful. The friends and the penguins slide again and again, their laughter ringing out across the frozen pond like the most beautiful music. The forest lights dance above them, the stars shine down, and for a while, there's nothing in the world but joy and friendship and the simple pleasure of playing on ice under a winter sky. Eventually, wonderfully tired and happy, the four friends gather at the edge of the pond to rest. The penguins bring them frozen berries, magic berries that taste like summer despite being frozen. And the friends share them, savoring the sweet, cool flavor. The largest penguin approaches them and squawks softly. Then it lifts one flipper and points toward the far end of the pond, where the forest continues, thick and mysterious. The forest lights have gathered there, pulsing gently, waiting. The penguin is saying, "Your journey isn't over. There's more to see, more to experience. But you're welcome to stay as long as you like." Biscuit retrieves the basket with their yarn. "I think we should keep going," he says gently. "As lovely as this has been, I feel like we're being called forward." The others nod in agreement. They're tired but exhilarated, and there's a sense that the night has more gifts to give them. They say goodbye to the penguins, who line up and bow their heads in a formal but adorable farewell. The youngest penguin waddles up to Sunny and gently touches its beak to her wing, a penguin kiss. Sunny's eyes fill with happy tears. "Thank you," she whispers. "Thank you for teaching us how to play." The penguins squawk in unison, and the sound is like music, like blessing, like love. The four friends gather their lanterns and follow the forest lights away from the pond, glancing back once to see the penguins waving their flippers goodbye, silhouetted against the ice that glows like a captured piece of the night sky. "That was magical," Peach says softly. "That was perfect," Mittens agrees. "That was exactly what we needed," Biscuit adds. "That was fun," Sunny declares, and they all laugh. As they walk deeper into the forest, following the guiding lights toward whatever comes next, they carry with them not just yarn for their gifts, but something more precious. The memory of letting go, of trusting, of playing without worry, of finding joy in the simple act of sliding across ice under the stars with friends by their side. The night continues, and the adventure grows deeper, sweeter, more meaningful with each step. Rest now, dear friend. The lights are leading onward, soft as dreams, bright as hope. Segment 7. The Northern Lights Hill. Where the sky dances and courage climbs, the path away from the frozen pond leads upward. The friends notice the change in terrain gradually. The ground beneath their feet begins to rise, gently at first, then more noticeably. The trees here are different too, taller, more ancient, their bark etched with patterns that look almost like writing in a language long forgotten. The forest lights continue to guide them, but now they've been joined by something else. High above, through gaps in the tree canopy, the friends can see flickers of color in the sky, green and purple, blue and pink, dancing and swirling like ribbons blown by a celestial wind. "The northern lights," Biscuit breathes, stopping to gaze upward. "I've only seen them a few times, and never this bright." The aurora borealis, the northern lights, are indeed spectacular tonight. They shimmer and pulse, creating curtains of light that seem to ripple with music only the eyes can hear. The colors are so vivid they seem almost alive, as if joy itself has been painted across the sky. "They're dancing," Sunny says with wonder, watching the lights weave and spin. "Like the forest lights, but bigger." "I've heard stories," Peach says softly, "that the northern lights appear when something magical is about to happen, when the world is especially full of wonder." "Then we must be in the right place," Mitten says, her bright eyes reflecting the colorful lights above. The forest begins to thin as they climb higher, the trees spacing themselves further apart, until finally the friends emerge from the forest entirely and find themselves at the base of a hill. But what a hill it is! It rises before them like a gentle giant. Its slopes smooth and white with snow, dotted here and there with evergreen bushes that glitter with frost. At its summit, they can see something glowing, not with the warm gold of fire, but with a cool, ethereal light that shifts through all the colors of the aurora above. And there, right at the very top of the hill, sitting in that pool of colorful light, is something small and round and unmistakably familiar. "Is that—" Mittens begins. "It's one of our yarn balls," Sunny finishes, squinting up at the hill. "But we have all 4 in the basket, don't we, Biscuit?" Biscuit sets down the basket and looks inside. His brow furrows. "We have 3. The pink, the cream, and the striped. But the sky blue is missing." They all look at Sunny's sky blue yarn ball, which should be in the basket but is somehow at the top of the hill instead, glowing under the northern lights like a beacon. "But how?" Peach wonders. "We've had the basket with us the whole time." "Magic," Biscuit says simply. "The same magic that brought us here. I think this is the final challenge, the culmination of our journey." The forest lights hover at the base of the hill, pulsing gently, encouraging but not ascending themselves. "This part of the journey," their behavior seems to say, "is for you alone." The friends look at each other, then up at the hill. It's not dangerously steep, but it is high, higher than any hill in Merry Soft Meadow. Climbing it will take effort, cooperation, and determination. "Well," Mitten says, cracking her knuckles in a gesture of determination, "we didn't come all this way to stop now. Let's go get that yarn." "Together," Peach adds firmly, and the others nod. They begin to climb. The ascent. At first, the going is easy. The slope is gentle, and the snow beneath their feet is firm enough to provide traction. The 4 friends walk side by side when they can, or single file when the path narrows, always staying close together. The northern lights above them grow brighter as they climb, as if acknowledging their efforts. The colors sweep across the sky in waves, now green, now blue, now a brilliant purple that fades into soft pink. The lights seem to pulse in rhythm with the friends' heartbeats, creating a sense of connection between earth and sky, between effort and reward. But as they get higher, the climb becomes more challenging. The snow grows deeper, making each step an effort. Sunny, being the smallest, sometimes sinks in up to her chest and has to be helped by the others. Biscuit, being the largest and strongest, often goes first, breaking a trail for the others to follow. "Thank you, Biscuit," Peach says gratefully, following in his deep footprints. "What are friends for?" Biscuit replies, his breath coming a little heavier now, creating puffs of mist in the cold air. About halfway up, they reach a section where the slope steepens significantly. Here, the snow is not just deep but also loose, sliding a little with each step. For every 2 steps forward, they seem to slide 1 step back. Mittens, with her light weight and quick reflexes, manages well enough, bounding from one firm spot to another. But Sunny struggles, her little webbed feet slipping in the loose snow. "I can't do it," Sunny says, her voice small and discouraged, a rare tone from the usually cheerful duckling. "I keep sliding back." "Yes, you can," Peach says immediately, moving to Sunny's side. "Here, take my paw. We'll go together." Peach extends her paw, and Sunny grasps it with her wing. Then Biscuit moves to Sunny's other side, offering his paw as well. With a friend on either side, Sunny finds the climb much easier. When she slips, they steady her. When she's tired, they encourage her. "You're doing wonderfully," Biscuit rumbles. "Just a little further." "1 step at a time," Peach adds, remembering her own lesson from earlier in the night. And Sunny, supported by love and friendship, finds her strength renewed. She stops thinking about how hard the climb is and instead focuses on each individual step. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. They continue upward, the 4 of them forming a linked chain of friendship, each one helping and being helped, each one drawing strength from the others. Mittens' moment. About 3/4 of the way up, they encounter an obstacle, a section of the hill where the snow has formed into a small overhang, like a tiny cliff about as tall as Biscuit. It's not dangerous. There's firm ground on the other side, but it needs to be climbed. Mittens studies it with her quick, clever mind. "I can get up there easily," she says, "and then I can help pull the rest of you up." She doesn't wait for agreement. That's not Mittens' way. She's already leaping, her claws finding purchase on the icy surface, her strong back legs pushing her upward. In seconds, she's at the top of the overhang, looking down at her friends triumphantly. "See? Easy!" she calls down. Then her expression becomes more serious and focused. "Okay, Sunny, you're the lightest. You come up first." Mittens lies flat on her belly at the edge of the overhang and extends both paws down. Sunny reaches up with her wings, and Mittens grasps them firmly. With surprising strength for such a small cat, Mittens pulls, and Sunny scrambles with her feet, and together they manage to get Sunny up and over. "Peach, you next," Mittens directs. Peach is heavier than Sunny, but still light enough for Mittens to help. The 2 of them work together, Mittens pulling and Peach climbing, until Peach too is safely at the top. Then comes Biscuit. He's much too heavy for Mittens to pull up alone, but Mittens has a plan. "Biscuit, you push from below. Peach and Sunny and I will pull from above. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Biscuit digs his claws into the ice and pushes with all his considerable strength. Above, the 3 smaller friends pull on his paws with everything they have. For a moment, nothing happens, and Biscuit starts to slide back. "We can do this!" Mittens shouts, her voice fierce with determination. "Again! 1, 2, 3! This time, with everyone giving their absolute all, Biscuit's head appears over the edge of the overhang. His paws find purchase. With one final heave from everyone, he pulls himself up and over, landing in a heap with his friends tumbling around him. For a moment, they all just lie there in the snow, breathing hard, tangled together in a pile of fur and feathers. Then Sunny starts to giggle. Then Peach joins in. Then Mittens and Biscuit, until they're all laughing, their breath creating clouds of mist that mingle together in the cold air. Mittens realizes something important. Her quick thinking and her energy when channeled into helping her friends, becomes leadership. She can use her cleverness not just for herself, but for the group. She can be the one who sees solutions and brings everyone together to achieve them. Peach's strength. They pick themselves up and continue climbing. The summit is close now. They can see the sky blue yarn glowing just ahead, tantalizingly near. But the final stretch is the steepest yet, and they're all tired. Peach feels her legs shaking with exertion. Her breath comes in gasps. Her paws ache from the cold and the climbing. And as they pause for a moment to rest, she feels her old friend worry creeping back in. What if I can't make it? What if I'm not strong enough? What if I hold everyone back? She sits down in the snow, her ears drooping. Maybe you should go ahead without me, she says quietly. I'm slowing you down. Biscuit sits down beside her immediately. Peach, we're not leaving anyone behind. We all make it together, or we don't make it at all. But I'm so tired, Peach admits, her voice breaking slightly. And I'm scared I'll fail you all. Mittens comes to sit on Peach's other side, pressing close. Peach, do you know what I've noticed about you tonight? Peach shakes her head. You've been amazing, Mittens says firmly. You helped that injured rabbit even when you were worried. You stepped onto the ice even though you were scared. You've been climbing this whole hill step by step, never giving up. That's not weakness, Peach. That's incredible strength. Courage isn't not being afraid, Biscuit adds gently. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. And you've been the most courageous of all of us tonight. Sunny waddles in front of Peach and looks up at her with shining eyes. You're my hero, Peach. You always have been. You're gentle and kind, but you're also so strong. Peach looks at her three friends, their faces full of love and belief in her, and she feels something shift inside her chest. The worry doesn't disappear entirely. She suspects it never will. That's just part of who she is. But it becomes smaller, more manageable. And underneath it, she finds something she didn't know was there. A core of strength, of determination, of stubborn courage that has been there all along. Okay, she says, standing up on shaky legs. Let's finish this. Together. And they do. The summit. The final steps to the summit are the hardest, but also the most triumphant. Each friend pushes through their exhaustion, drawing on reserves of strength they didn't know they possessed. They help each other, encourage each other, sometimes even physically push each other forward when needed. And then, finally, they take that last step, and they're there, at the top, the summit of the Northern Lights Hill. The view is breathtaking. They can see the entire Enchanted Forest spread out below them, a sea of silver-topped trees stretching in every direction. Beyond the forest, they can see Merry Soft Meadow, tiny and perfect, its peppermint trees glowing like small stars. The crochet cottage is visible too, its windows lit, a beacon of home and warmth and safety. But the real wonder is above them. The Northern Lights from up here are not distant and ethereal. They're immediate and overwhelming, sweeping across the sky in waves of impossible color. Green and purple, blue and pink, gold and silver. They dance and swirl in patterns that seem almost alive, almost conscious. The lights are so close, it feels like you could reach up and touch them, like you could gather them in your arms, like ribbons of pure magic. And there, right in the center of the summit, sitting in a small hollow of snow that glows with reflected aurora light, is Sunny's sky blue yarn ball. But it's not alone. Standing beside the yarn, waiting patiently as if it has been expecting them, is the magical wind that started this whole adventure. But now, for the first time, it has a form. It's not just invisible air anymore. It's a shape, a being, something like a small creature made entirely of swirling, glowing wind and northern light. It looks a bit like a fox, a bit like a deer, a bit like a bird, or perhaps it's all three at once, constantly shifting, never quite settling on one form. Its eyes, though, are constant, bright and kind and infinitely wise. The wind spirit, for that's what it clearly is, regards the four friends with those luminous eyes. Then it does something unexpected. It speaks. Not with words exactly, but with feelings that appear directly in the friends' minds and hearts, clearer than any spoken language could be. You have journeyed far tonight. You have been tested, not with danger or difficulty, but with yourselves, your fears, your weaknesses, your doubts. And you have discovered that these things you thought were flaws are actually your greatest strengths when tempered with courage and love. Peach, you learned that your caution and care are not weaknesses, but gifts, and that behind your worry lies deep courage. Biscuit, you learned that your slowness and sleepiness are not failures, but reflections of your deep capacity for peace and for helping others find rest. Mittens, you learned that your quick, scattered energy is not a problem to fix, but a strength to channel, that your cleverness and speed can serve not just yourself, but your friends. And Sunny, you learned that your clumsiness matters not at all compared to your ability to bring joy, to find happiness, to lift the spirits of everyone around you. The wind spirit picks up the sky blue yarn in its misty, shimmering form and brings it to the friends, placing it gently at their feet. Your yarn is complete. Your journey through the forest is finished. You may return home now to complete your gifts. But know this, the greatest gift you carry is not the yarn, but the understanding of yourselves and each other that you've gained tonight. On this Christmas Eve, you've been given a gift more precious than anything that can be crocheted. The gift of knowing your own worth, of understanding your own strength, of believing in yourselves as much as you believe in each other. The wind spirit steps back, and as it does, it begins to fade, returning to its invisible form. But before it disappears entirely, it does one more thing. It reaches up toward the northern lights, and the lights respond, swirling down closer, bathing the four friends in color and magic and indescribable beauty. For just a moment, one perfect, eternal moment, Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny are standing inside the northern lights themselves, surrounded by dancing color, feeling the pulse of the aurora through their entire beings. It's like being embraced by the sky, like being blessed by the stars, like being loved by the universe itself. Then the wind spirit is gone, and the northern lights recede to their usual height, though they seem to dance a little more joyfully now, as if pleased by what they've witnessed. The four friends stand together at the summit, the wind ruffling their fur and feathers gently, the full basket of yarn at their feet. They're tired, yes, but they're also exhilarated, transformed, complete. "We did it," Peach whispers. "We did." Biscuit agrees, his voice full of quiet pride. "That was the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me," Mittens says, her bright eyes still wide with wonder. "This is the best Christmas Eve ever," Sunny declares, and she means it with her whole heart. They stand together for a few more minutes, drinking in the view, feeling the magic of the night settle into their bones, creating memories they'll carry forever. Then, by unspoken agreement, they turn back toward the path down the hill, toward the forest, toward home. The forest lights have returned and are waiting to guide them back. The journey forward has been completed. Now it's time for the journey home. But they're not the same four friends who started climbing this hill. They're stronger, braver, wiser. They know themselves better. They know each other better. They know what they're capable of when they work together, when they believe in themselves, when they face their fears with love and friendship as their guide. The descent down the Northern Lights hill is easier than the ascent, as descents usually are. The forest lights guide them through the trees, past the frozen pond where the penguins are sleeping, past the clearing where they help the forest creatures, back through the magical woods toward home. As they walk, Sunny begins to hum her cheerful tune again, and the others join in, their voices creating a harmony that seems to make the forest glow a little brighter, the snow fall a little more gently, the night feel a little more magical. They're going home now, carrying their yarn and their newfound wisdom, ready to complete their gifts and celebrate Christmas morning. But the night has given them something far more valuable than yarn. It's given them themselves. Sleep deeply, dear friend. The journey home is beginning, soft as falling snow, warm as coming home. Segment 8. Returning home to the warm cottage, where fire awaits and warmth embraces. The journey back through the Enchanted Forest feels different from the journey in. The forest is still magical, still beautiful, but now it feels familiar, like an old friend rather than a mysterious stranger. The trees seem to lean in a bit more kindly. The snow crunches a bit more cheerfully. Even the shadows feel gentler, softer, more welcoming. The forest lights lead the way, but the friends hardly need their guidance anymore. They've left a trail, of footprints, of memories, of magic, that would lead them home even in total darkness. But the lights stay with them anyway, dancing around them like proud parents, watching children who've succeeded at something difficult. As they walk, the friends talk quietly about all they've experienced. They talk about the creatures they helped, about the penguins and the frozen pond, about the climb up the Northern Lights hill and the wind spirit's words. But mostly, they talk about what they've learned about themselves. "I never thought of myself as brave before," Peach admits, her voice soft but steady. "I always thought brave people were the ones who weren't afraid. But tonight, I learned that bravery is doing things even when you are afraid." "You've always been brave," Biscuit tells her gently. "You just didn't recognize it. Every time you overcame your worry to try something new, that was bravery. Every time you pushed through your doubts to help someone, that was courage. And I learned that being slow isn't the same as being behind, Biscuit continues. Sometimes going slowly means you notice things others miss. Sometimes taking your time means you do things more thoroughly, more thoughtfully. Plus, you give the best advice precisely because you're not rushing. Mittens adds, bumping against Biscuit's leg affectionately. You think before you speak. That's a gift. Mittens is quieter than usual, and when Sunny asks her what she's thinking about, she takes a moment before answering. I guess I'm thinking about focus, Mittens says finally. I always thought my distractibility was a bad thing, something I needed to fix. But tonight, when we needed someone to think fast and see solutions quickly, my quick mind was exactly what we needed. I just have to remember to direct it at the right things. You were amazing on that hill, Sunny tells her. The way you figured out how to get us all over that ice cliff, that was pure Mittens brilliance. Sunny herself is skipping along, waddling energetically, her usual cheerful energy fully restored despite the long night. You know what I realized? She says, her voice bright. I realized that it's okay to be clumsy. It's okay to drop things and trip and fall down. Because what matters isn't whether you fall. It's whether you get back up. And it's whether you help others get back up too. And your joy, Peach adds warmly. Your ability to find happiness and spread it to others. That's magic just as powerful as anything we saw in this forest tonight. The friends continue through the woods, their conversation flowing as naturally as a stream, punctuated by comfortable silences where they simply walk together, absorbing the peace of the night. They pass the clearing where they help the forest creatures, and this time, the creatures are there to see them off. The young rabbit with its bandaged ear, the baby owl sleeping peacefully in its nest, the fawn prancing happily, and the snow sprite glowing brilliantly. They all gather to wave goodbye. The large fox stands at the center, and as the friends pass, it bows its head in respect and farewell. Goodbye, Peach calls softly. Thank you for teaching us. The creatures respond with their own goodbyes, a thump of rabbit feet, a soft hoot, a stamp of a hoof, a shower of sparkling snow, and the friends feel their hearts grow even fuller. At the frozen pond, they find the penguins awake and waiting. The magical birds line up at the edge of the ice and perform what can only be described as a farewell ceremony. They waddle in formation, bow in unison, and then slide across the ice one final time in tribute to their friends. The friends wave until the penguins are out of sight, their hearts warmed by the memory of laughter and sliding and learning to play without fear. Finally, the trees begin to thin, and the friends see the glow of peppermint trees ahead, the edge of the Enchanted Forest, the beginning of Merry Soft Meadow. They pause at the threshold, looking back into the forest one last time. The forest lights hover there, pulsing gently, as if saying, "You're welcome here anytime. You've become part of this magic now." Thank you, Biscuit says to the lights, to the forest, to the magic itself. Thank you for this night. The lights pulse brighter for just a moment, then drift back into the forest, fading from view. The friends step out of the woods and into Merry Soft Meadow. Immediately, the world changes from magical and mysterious to magical and familiar. The snow here is softer, fluffier. The air smells like vanilla and cinnamon. And there, glowing warmly in the distance, is the crochet cottage, its windows lit like welcoming eyes, its chimney sending up a steady stream of sweet-scented smoke. Home, Sunny breathes, and the word has never sounded sweeter. They walk the last stretch across the meadow more quickly now, drawn by the promise of warmth and comfort. Their paws and feet leave a clear trail in the snow. 4 sets of tracks, sometimes side by side, sometimes single file, always together. The round lavender door of the crochet cottage is closed now. They left it open when they departed, but the cottage has closed it behind them, keeping the warmth inside, waiting for their return. Biscuit reaches out and pushes it open, and immediately they're enveloped in welcoming heat. The fire in the fireplace has burned low but is still glowing, casting the room in gentle orange light. The lanterns on the table have dimmed, but not gone out. Everything is exactly as they left it. The armchairs with their blankets, the shelves with their yarn, the round table with their unfinished projects. But somehow, it all looks even more precious now, even more beloved. Home, Mittens says, echoing Sunny, and her voice is filled with contentment. They file inside, stamping the snow from their feet, setting down their lanterns. Biscuit places the basket with the 4 balls of yarn on the table, and they all gather around to look at them. The yarn isn't glowing anymore. The magic has released it, but somehow it seems even more beautiful now, more precious. It's been on an adventure. It carries within its fibers all the experiences of the night, the forest creatures and the frozen pond, the penguins and the Northern Lights Hill, the lessons learned and the courage found. "I'll add more wood to the fire," Biscuit offers, moving toward the fireplace. "And I'll make fresh cocoa," Sunny volunteers, waddling toward the kitchen nook. "I'll get out some more cookies," Mitten says, already reaching for the tin. "And Peach begins, then smiles. "I'll light fresh candles for the table. We're going to need good light to finish our projects." They move around the cottage with comfortable familiarity, each one performing their chosen task. Within minutes, the fire is crackling cheerfully again, sending warmth throughout the room. The cocoa is heating on the stove, filling the air with the rich scent of chocolate and cream. Fresh candles are burning on the table, their light golden and steady. And a new plate of cookies sits at the center, alongside the basket of yarn. The friends settle back into their places, Peach in her armchair by the fire, Biscuit on the window seat, Mittens perched on her chair at the table, Sunny in her cushioned spot, with the best view of everyone else. They pick up their unfinished projects, and it feels like coming home in more ways than one. For a while, they work in peaceful silence, the only sounds the crackling of the fire, the gentle click of crochet hooks, and the occasional sip of cocoa. But it's not an empty silence. It's full, rich with shared experience and comfortable companionship. Peach works on her pink mittens, and this time, her stitches flow easily, confidently. She's not worried about perfection anymore. She's focused on love, on putting love into every stitch, on creating something that will warm not just hands, but hearts. Biscuit works on his cream scarf, and his usual slowness has become a meditation. Each stitch is deliberate, purposeful, filled with care. He's not fighting his sleepy nature anymore. He's embracing it, letting his calm energy flow into his work. Mittens works on her striped beanie, and her quick fingers fly across the stitches with focused precision. She's learned to channel her energy, to direct it fully into her task. And the result is beautiful, neat, even stitches that create a perfect pattern of orange and white. And Sunny works on her tiny sky blue sweater, and yes, She drops her hook twice and has to fix a mistake once, but she does so with laughter and patience. Each imperfection becomes part of the story of the sweater, proof that it was made by loving hands, not a machine. The night deepens around them. The clock on the mantel ticks steadily toward midnight, toward Christmas Day. Outside, the snow continues to fall, covering their tracks across the meadow, tucking the world into bed. After a while, Biscuit rises and refills everyone's cocoa mugs. They take a break, stretching their arms and paws and wings, rolling their shoulders, flexing their fingers. "Look how much we've done," Peach says, holding up her mittens. They're nearly finished now, with only a few rows left on the second mitten. "I'm almost done with the scarf, too," Biscuit reports, his length of fluffy cream fabric now long enough to wrap around someone 3 times. "The beanie needs a pom-pom still, but the knitting part is done," Mittens announces proudly. "And my sweater needs the sleeves attached, but the body is complete," Sunny adds, showing off her tiny creation. They admire each other's work, offering compliments and encouragement. Then, by unspoken agreement, they settle back down to finish. The next hour passes in a warm haze of contentment. Fingers and paws work steadily. Yarn becomes fabric, projects near completion. The fire burns steadily, the cocoa steams gently, and the cottage feels like a bubble of perfect peace floating through the winter night. Peach finishes her mittens first. She holds them up to the firelight, examining the snowflake pattern she's created on the backs. They're beautiful, soft and warm, and exactly the dusty rose color she'd envisioned. But more than that, they're filled with love. You can feel it when you touch them. "Done," she whispers, her eyes shining with pride and happiness. Soon after, Biscuit ties off the final stitch on his scarf. He wraps it around his own neck once, feeling its fluffiness, its warmth, its perfect texture. Then he removes it carefully and folds it, ready to be given as a gift. Mittens finishes next, though she spends an extra 10 minutes making the biggest, fluffiest pom-pom any of them have ever seen. She attaches it to the top of the striped beanie and holds the finished hat aloft triumphantly. "Perfect," she declares, and it is. Last is Sunny, working carefully to attach the tiny sleeves to her sweater. When she finally ties off the last stitch and holds up the completed garment, the others all gasp. It's adorable, small and sky blue with puffy little sleeves and a round neckline. Sunny has somehow managed to embroider tiny white clouds around the hem, just as she'd planned, and they look like wisps of actual sky captured in thread. "It's beautiful, Sunny," Peach breathes. "You did it!" Mittens cheers. "Well done," Biscuit says warmly. 4 projects, now complete. 4 handmade gifts, each one unique, each one perfect, each one made with love and care and newfound understanding of self and friends. The clock strikes midnight. Christmas Day has arrived. The friends look at each other, their faces glowing in the firelight, their hearts full to bursting. They've completed an adventure and finished their gifts. They've learned about themselves and each other. They've experienced magic and discovered that the greatest magic of all is friendship, courage, kindness, and love. "Merry Christmas," Peach says softly. "Merry Christmas," the others echo. They sit together for a while longer, too content to move, too happy to want this moment to end. Outside, the first hint of dawn begins to touch the eastern sky, turning it from black to deep blue. Tomorrow, today, will bring gift-giving and sledding and more joy. But for now, they're simply together, in their warm cottage, surrounded by handmade treasures and the most precious gift of all, each other. Sleep peacefully, dear friend. The night is ending, but the love remains, soft as yarn, warm as home. Segment 9. Christmas Morning Gift Exchange, where love is wrapped in handmade warmth. The first light of Christmas morning filters through the windows of the crochet cottage like liquid gold. It's soft and gentle, not harsh or demanding, just enough to coax the world awake with kindness. The snow outside catches this early light and sparkles like a field of diamonds, each crystal reflecting the promise of a beautiful day. Inside the cottage, the fire has burned down to glowing embers, still radiating warmth, but in a quieter, gentler way. The four friends have dozed off in their seats, their finished projects resting in their laps or on the table before them, their bodies relaxed in the comfortable exhaustion that comes after a night of adventure and creation. Peach is the first to wake. She stirs in her armchair, blinking her honey-colored eyes against the soft morning light. For a moment, she's confused. Why is she in the chair instead of her bed? But then the memories of the night come flooding back. The magical wind, the enchanted forest, the creatures they helped, the Northern Lights hill, the journey home, the finished mittens. She looks down, and there they are, her beautiful pink mittens with their snowflake pattern, resting in her lap like small sleeping creatures. She picks them up gently, running her paw over the stitches, marveling at what she's created. They're perfect, not in the sense of having no flaws, but in the sense of being exactly what they're meant to be. "Good morning," comes Biscuit's deep, rumbling voice. Peach looks up to see him stretching on the window seat, his cream scarf draped over his lap. He's smiling his warm, gentle smile, and his brown eyes are soft with contentment. "Good morning," Peach replies, her voice hushed with the special quiet of Christmas morning. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas," Biscuit echoes. Their voices wake the others. Mittens lifts her head from where she's been curled on the table next to her striped beanie, her whiskers twitching as she comes fully awake. Sunny's eyes flutter open, and she looks around with dawning delight as she remembers what day it is. "It's Christmas!" Sunny exclaims in a whisper shout, trying to be both excited and quiet at the same time. "It is," Mittens agrees, stretching in a very cat-like way, her back arching, her tail pointing straight up. "And we have gifts to exchange." The friends all sit up properly now, suddenly wide awake despite the late night. There's an electric feeling in the air, not the wild magic of the Enchanted Forest, but something just as special. The magic of giving, of friendship, of love, made tangible. "How should we do this?" Peach asks, looking around at her friends and their completed projects. "Let's go one at a time," Biscuit suggests. "That way, we can each have a moment to give our gift properly. And we can see each person's reaction," Sunny adds, bouncing slightly in her seat. They agree on an order. They'll go clockwise around the room, starting with Peach. But first, Biscuit rises and adds fresh wood to the fire, coaxing it back to cheerful flames. Mittens opens the curtains fully, letting in the sparkling Christmas morning light. Sunny retrieves the last of the cookies and arranges them on a pretty plate. And Peach makes a fresh pot of tea, this time a special Christmas blend that smells of cinnamon and orange and clove. When they're all settled again, warm cups in hand, the fire crackling merrily, they turn their attention to Peach. Peach's gift. Peach stands, holding her pink mittens. Her paws tremble slightly, not from fear, but from the intensity of emotion she's feeling. She's put so much of herself into these mittens, so much love and care and hope. I made these for all of us to share. Peach begins, her voice soft but clear. Because I wanted to create something that would keep us warm when we go sledding together. But they're also a reminder of what I learned last night. She holds up the mittens so everyone can see the snowflake pattern clearly. Each snowflake is unique, just like each of us. And snowflakes might seem fragile, but they're actually incredibly strong. Strong enough to cover entire mountains, strong enough to transform the world. That's like us. We might think we're not enough, but together, we're so strong. And even our supposed weaknesses become beautiful patterns in the bigger picture. She walks to Biscuit first and presents the mittens to him. These are for you, Biscuit, because you're the steadiest, most dependable person I know. When I wear these, I'll think of how you've always been there for me, warming me with your kindness and your wisdom. Biscuit takes the mittens with his large paws, and his eyes glisten with emotion. He carefully puts them on, and they fit perfectly. Peach has made them large enough for bear paws. They're wonderful, Peach, he says, his voice thick with feeling. Thank you. I'll treasure them. Peach returns to her seat, her cheeks rosy with pleasure and embarrassment. The mittens stay with Biscuit, at least for now, though the understanding is that they're for all of them to share when they go sledding. Biscuit's gift. Next is Biscuit. He stands slowly, unfolding his great height, holding his fluffy cream scarf with gentle care. The scarf is magnificent, long and soft, and so fluffy it looks like a cloud that's been convinced to hold its shape. I wanted to make something that would wrap you in warmth, Biscuit begins, his deep voice filling the cottage with its comforting rumble. Because that's what you all do for me. You wrap me in the warmth of friendship and love. This scarf is long enough to share, just like happiness should be shared. He walks to Mittens, who is watching him with bright, attentive eyes. Mittens, you bring energy and joy to every day. You make me laugh when I'm too serious, and you remind me that life should be playful as well as peaceful. This scarf is for you, to keep you cozy during all your adventures. He drapes the scarf around Mittens' neck, wrapping it loosely. It's so long it pools on the floor around her, creating a fluffy nest of cream-colored softness. Mittens immediately buries her face in it, and when she looks up, she's purring loudly. It's perfect, she says, her voice slightly muffled by the scarf. It's the softest thing I've ever felt. Thank you, Biscuit. Biscuit returns to his seat, and Mittens keeps the scarf draped around her, though, like the mittens, it's meant to be shared among all of them. Mittens' gift. Mittens stands next, her striped beanie in her paws, the enormous pom-pom on top bobbing with her movements. Her tail swishes with excitement, and her whiskers twitch with barely contained energy. Okay, so, Mittens begins, speaking quickly as she always does when excited. I wanted to make something fun and colorful and practical all at once, because that's what I think friendship should be. Fun, but also useful. This beanie will keep someone's head and ears warm, but it'll also make them look completely adorable with this ridiculous pom-pom. She bounces over to Sunny, who is watching with wide, delighted eyes. Sunny, you're the most enthusiastic, optimistic person I know. You make every day brighter just by being in it. This beanie has stripes like a candy cane, and that huge pom-pom is like your personality, big and fluffy and impossible to ignore. I made it for you. She carefully places the beanie on Sunny's head, adjusting it so it sits just right. The orange and white stripes complement Sunny's yellow feathers beautifully, and the giant pom-pom wobbles on top like a cheerful antenna. Sunny looks absolutely adorable. "Oh!" Sunny exclaims, reaching up to touch the pom-pom. "Oh, I love it! I love it so much!" She waddles to the mirror hanging on the wall and examines herself, turning this way and that. The pom-pom bounces with every movement, and Sunny dissolves into giggles. "It's perfect! Thank you, Mittens!" Mittens grins widely, clearly pleased with herself, and returns to her seat. Sunny keeps the beanie on, and it's obvious she has no intention of taking it off anytime soon. Sunny's gift. Finally, it's Sunny's turn. She stands, holding her tiny sky blue sweater with its embroidered clouds. Despite her characteristic enthusiasm, there's a tender quality to her expression, a softness that shows how much this moment means to her. "I made this sweater to be like a hug from the sky," Sunny begins, her voice gentle for once, thoughtful. "Because the sky, always there, always watching over us, always beautiful no matter what. And I wanted to make something that would remind whoever wears it that they're loved and protected and treasured." She waddles over to Peach, the sweater held carefully in her wings. "Peach, you're the kindest, most caring person I know. You always worry about making things perfect. But the truth is, you already are perfect, just as you are. This sweater is small, like me, but it's made with the biggest heart. I want you to have it." She offers the sweater to Peach, who takes it with trembling paws. Peach holds it up to the light, examining the delicate stitches, the tiny embroidered clouds, the perfect little sleeves. It's small, too small for any of them to wear, but that doesn't matter. It's not meant to be worn. It's meant to be treasured. "Oh, Sunny," Peach whispers, tears spilling down her rosy cheeks. "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Thank you. Thank you so much." They embrace, Peach carefully, Sunny enthusiastically, and the other two friends join in, creating a group hug that somehow manages to include everyone without squashing anyone. They stand there in the center of the cottage, wrapped in each other's arms, in handmade gifts, in love and friendship, and the pure magic of Christmas morning. When they finally pull apart, all of them are crying happy tears. All of them are smiling so widely their faces hurt. All of them are filled with an emotion too big to name. Something that's part joy, part gratitude, part love, part wonder. "These are the best gifts I've ever received," Peach says, still clutching the tiny sweater. "Mine too," Biscuit agrees, looking at his mittened paws. "Mine too," Mittens echoes, snuggling into her scarf. "Mine too," Sunny declares, the pom-pom on her beanie bouncing emphatically. They spend the next hour simply being together, admiring their gifts, drinking tea, eating the last of the cookies, and talking about the night's adventure. They share details they hadn't mentioned before, small observations and feelings and moments that now, in the warm light of Christmas morning, take on even deeper meaning. Peach talks about how frightening but also thrilling it was to step onto the ice, how Biscuit's steady presence gave her courage. Biscuit describes the peace he felt while helping the baby owl sleep, how it reminded him that his nature is a gift, not a flaw. Mittens recounts the climb up the ice overhang, how working together to solve problems made her quick thinking feel purposeful instead of scattered. Sunny relives the joy of dancing with the snow sprite, how she realized that her ability to spread happiness is the most powerful magic she possesses. They laugh together, remember together, reflect together, and through it all, they wear or hold their gifts, tangible reminders of love and friendship. Outside, the Christmas morning sun rises higher, and Merry Soft Meadow awakens fully. Other cottages begin to show signs of life: smoke from chimneys, lights in windows, the distant sound of laughter and Christmas songs. The whole village is celebrating, each household in its own way, but none more joyfully than the 4 friends in the crochet cottage. "You know," Mittens says after a comfortable silence, "we still have one more thing to do today." "What's that?" Sunny asks. "Sledding," Mittens reminds them, her eyes sparkling. "We were going to go sledding on Christmas Day, remember? That was the whole plan." "Oh, yes," Peach exclaims. "How could I forget?" "Should we go now?" Biscuit asks, looking out the window at the perfect snow covering Starlight Hill in the distance. "Yes!" All 4 friends shout together. They spring into action, gathering their sleds from the storage shed, bundling up in their warmest clothes, and of course, wearing their new handmade gifts. Biscuit wears the pink mittens. Mittens wraps herself in the cream scarf. Sunny keeps the striped beanie firmly on her head, and Peach carefully tucks the tiny sweater into her apron pocket, close to her heart. Within minutes, they're ready. They stand at the door of the crochet cottage, sleds in hand, dressed in their Christmas finest, their faces glowing with anticipation. "To Starlight Hill!" Sunny declares, raising one wing dramatically. "To Starlight Hill!" the others echo, and out they go, into the sparkling Christmas morning, toward one more adventure. A simpler one this time, but no less magical. The adventure of sledding with your best friends on Christmas Day. Rest now, dear friend. Joy awaits, bright as morning, soft as friendship. Segment 10. Sledding Adventure and Sleepy Ending. Where laughter slides down hills and hearts fly home. Starlight Hill rises at the western edge of Merry Soft Meadow, a gentle giant of snow and slopes. It got its name from the way starlight seems to cling to its peaks even during the day, as if the snow itself remembers every star that's ever shone upon it. Today, Christmas morning, it gleams in the winter sunlight like a mountain made of sugar and dreams. The 4 friends make their way across the meadow, pulling their sleds behind them. The sleds are simple but perfect. Smooth wooden boards with curved fronts, painted in cheerful colors that match each friend's personality. Peach's is soft pink with rose designs. Biscuit's is warm caramel brown. Mittens is bright orange. And Sunny's is sunny yellow, naturally. The morning air is crisp and clean, cold enough to make their breath visible, but not so cold as to be uncomfortable. The sun hangs in a perfectly blue sky, surrounded by just a few wispy clouds that look like they've been brushed there by an artist's delicate hand. Everything is still and peaceful, the whole world taking a breath before the day truly begins. Other residents of Merry Soft Meadow are emerging from their cottages now. Families of rabbits and foxes, birds and hedgehogs, all dressed in their Christmas finest. They wave to Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny as they pass, calling out, "Merry Christmas!" in cheerful voices. The friends wave back, their hearts warm with the sense of community and belonging. "Look at Sunny's hat!" a young rabbit calls, pointing at the enormous pom-pom bouncing on Sunny's head. "And Biscuit's mittens," adds a fox cub, admiring the snowflake pattern. "And that fluffy scarf," squeaks a mouse, watching Mittens' cream scarf trail behind her in the snow like a comet's tail. The friends beam with pride, not just in their handmade gifts, but in the friendship they represent. These aren't just accessories, they're stories, adventures, love made visible. As they reach the base of Starlight Hill, they pause to look up. From here, the hill seems enormous, its white slopes stretching toward the sky, its peak crowned with evergreen trees that glitter with frost. Several sledding paths are visible, carved by previous adventurers, winding down the hill in graceful curves. "Which path should we take?" Peach asks, examining the options. "The biggest one," Mittens suggests immediately, pointing to the longest, steepest path that runs straight down from the very top. "Maybe we should start with something a little less intense?" Peach suggests diplomatically, her old worries trying to creep back in. But she catches herself, remembers the lessons of last night, and adds more firmly, "Actually, you know what? Let's do it. The biggest path. We can handle it." "That's the spirit," Biscuit says warmly, giving Peach an approving nod. The climb up Starlight Hill is nothing compared to the Northern Lights Hill from the night before, but it's still an effort. The friends help each other, pulling sleds, encouraging each other when someone's legs get tired, pausing occasionally to catch their breath and admire the view. As they climb higher, Merry Soft Meadow spreads out below them like a picture book illustration. They can see the crochet cottage with its round lavender door and smoke curling from its chimney. They can see the peppermint trees with their candy-striped bark and silver bells. They can see the paths winding through the village, the frozen pond in the distance, and far beyond, just barely visible, the dark line of the Enchanted Forest where their night's adventure took place. "We went all the way there and back," Sunny marvels, pointing toward the forest. "It seems impossible in daylight, but we really did it." "We did," Peach confirms, her voice full of wonder and pride. Finally, they reach the summit of Starlight Hill. The view from here is breathtaking, a complete panorama of their world, sparkling and peaceful and perfect. They can see for miles in every direction: the meadow, the village, the forest, the distant mountains beyond, and above it all, that endless blue sky. "Ready?" Mittens asks, positioning her orange sled at the top of the steepest path. Her eyes are bright with excitement, her tail swishing in anticipation. "Ready," Biscuit confirms, settling his large frame onto his caramel brown sled. "Ready," Sunny chirps, her yellow sled positioned right next to Mittens. "Ready," Peach says, and she means it. She's nervous, yes, but she's also excited, confident, ready to embrace the adventure. They count down together, their voices joining in perfect harmony. 3, 2, 1, go! And they push off. The first run. The sensation is indescribable. That moment when the sled catches the slope and gravity takes over. When you're no longer in control, but somehow that's exactly right. When you're flying without leaving the ground. Whoosh! The wind rushes past their faces, cold and exhilarating. The snow sprays up on either side of their sleds in sparkling fountains. The world becomes a blur of white and blue and speed and joy. Mittens is in the lead, naturally, her lightweight and fearless approach giving her an advantage. She's laughing, or maybe shouting. It's hard to tell at this speed. Her scarf streams behind her like a banner, and her orange sled catches the sunlight, making her look like a comet blazing down the hill. Sunny is right behind Mittens, her sled occasionally catching air on small bumps, which makes her shriek with delighted surprise. Her beanie's pom-pom bounces wildly, and at one point, it bounces so hard it falls down over her eyes. But she just laughs and pushes it back up without slowing down. Biscuit comes next, his heavier weight giving him different momentum, slower to start, but powerfully steady once moving. His pink mittened paws grip the sides of his sled, and his face shows pure, uncomplicated joy. For someone who's usually so calm and slow, the speed of sledding is a delicious contrast, and he's savoring every second. Peach brings up the rear, but not because she's going slow. She's actually going quite fast, faster than she ever has before. Her long ears stream behind her in the wind, and she's smiling so widely it almost hurts. The fear she expected to feel never materialized. Instead, there's only this: freedom, joy, the thrill of letting go and trusting the moment. They reach the bottom of the hill in what feels like both seconds and hours. Time does strange things when you're having this much fun. Their sleds slow, then stop, settling into the soft snow at the hill's base. For a moment, the friends just sit there, breathing hard, their cheeks flushed, their eyes sparkling. Then Sunny breaks the silence. "That was amazing! Let's do it again!" "Again!" Mittens agrees immediately. "Definitely again," Biscuit says with his warm smile. "Again," Peach confirms, laughing, and so they climb back up, pulling their sleds behind them, already recounting the details of that first run. "Did you see that bump? Did you feel that turn? Was that the fastest we've ever gone?" The second run. Together. For their second run, Mittens has an idea. "What if we try to go down together? Like holding on to each other's sleds?" "Is that safe?" Peach asks, but she's smiling as she says it, already knowing the answer doesn't really matter. "Probably not," Biscuit admits. "But it might be fun." "Then let's do it," Sunny declares. They arrange themselves at the top of the hill, positioning their sleds in a line. Mittens in front, then Sunny, then Peach, then Biscuit. They each hold onto the sled in front of them, creating a chain of friends and sleds. "Don't let go," Mittens instructs, though she's laughing as she says it. "Ready?" Biscuit asks from the back. "Ready!" they all shout, and off they go. This time is different, more chaotic, more wild, more hilarious. The sleds don't go in a straight line. They weave and swerve, affected by the weight distribution and the connections between them. At one point, they spin in a slow circle while still moving forward, which makes all of them shriek with laughter. Halfway down, Sunny's grip slips and the chain breaks. The sleds separate, each one going its own way. Mittens veers left, taking a path through a grove of small bushes. Sunny spins in circles down the middle path. Peach's sled tips slightly to one side, making her lean hard to keep her balance. Biscuit, heaviest and most stable, continues straight down, his deep laughter echoing across the hill. They all end up at the bottom at roughly the same time, but in completely different spots, separated by dozens of feet but connected by laughter that rings out across the meadow like bells. They trudge through the snow to reunite, dragging their sleds behind them, and when they meet, they collapse into a giggling heap. "That was insane," Mittens gasps between laughs. "That was wonderful," Sunny corrects, though she's laughing just as hard. "That was definitely something," Biscuit says, his eyes twinkling with mirth. "That was perfect," Peach declares, and she means it with her whole heart. More runs, more joy. They sled down Starlight Hill again and again, each run different from the last. Sometimes they race, sometimes they go together, sometimes they try elaborate tricks that usually end with them tumbling into the soft snow, laughing until their sides hurt. Other families and friends from the village join them on the hill, and soon Starlight Hill is full of life and laughter. Children race down on tiny sleds, parents go down more sedately, and everyone cheers for everyone else. It's a community celebration, a Christmas morning tradition, and the four friends are right in the heart of it. On one run, Peach actually goes faster than Mittens, surprising both of them. Peach reaches the bottom first and stands there with her paws raised in triumph, her face glowing with pride and joy. On another run, Biscuit's sled hits a bump wrong and he tumbles off, rolling down the hill like a fuzzy caramel-colored boulder. When he finally stops, he lies in the snow making a snow angel, laughing at himself, completely unbothered by the fall. Mittens tries to do a trick, standing on her sled while going down, and immediately falls off. But she lands perfectly on her feet, because cats always do, and takes a theatrical bow, as if she'd planned it all along. Sunny's sled actually catches serious air on one run, lifting completely off the ground for several feet. She screams with joy the entire time she's airborne, her wings spread wide, her pom-pom hat flying off her head. She has to climb back up to retrieve it, but she's laughing the whole way. The morning passes in a blur of speed and snow and sunshine and laughter. The friends sled until their legs are tired, until their voices are hoarse from shouting with joy, until their faces hurt from smiling, until they're completely, perfectly exhausted. The last run. As the sun begins its descent toward afternoon, the friends decide on one last run. "One more," Biscuit says, though his voice is sleepy and content. "Then we should probably head home and rest." "Just one more," the others agree. They climb Starlight Hill one final time, their movements slower now, tired but satisfied. At the top, they pause longer than usual, taking in the view, breathing in the crisp winter air, feeling the warmth of the sun on their faces despite the cold. "What a perfect Christmas," Peach says softly. "The best one ever," Mittens agrees, leaning against Peach companionably. "I'll never forget this day," Sunny says, her voice uncharacteristically quiet and thoughtful. "Or last night, or any of this." "Neither will I," Biscuit says. "These are the moments we'll carry with us always. Not just the memories, but the feelings, the love." They stand together for a moment more, four friends on top of a hill on Christmas Day, wearing handmade gifts that represent their journey and their growth, their hearts full of everything that matters. Then, by unspoken agreement, they position their sleds side by side, pink, caramel brown, bright orange, sunny yellow, a rainbow of friendship. "Together?" Peach suggests. "Together," the others confirm. "On 3, Mitten says. 1, 2, 3. They push off together, their sleds side by side, close enough that they can hold hands, paw to paw to paw to wing, as they slide down Starlight Hill one last time. The wind rushes past them, the sun shines down on them, the snow sparkles around them, and they're together, connected, four friends experiencing pure joy in its most simple and perfect form. They don't race this time. They don't try tricks. They just slide down the hill together, holding hands, their laughter mixing with the sound of the wind, their hearts so full they feel like they might burst. And it's perfect. It's absolutely, completely, perfectly perfect. Coming home. By the time they reach the crochet cottage again, the sun is well into its afternoon descent. The light has turned golden, softer, warmer. The shadows are longer. The air has grown just a bit colder, reminding everyone that winter is still here, that coziness is needed. The friends trudge up to their round lavender door, dragging their sleds, their bodies tired in the best possible way. They're the kind of tired that comes from doing something joyful, from using your energy in the service of happiness. Inside, the cottage welcomes them back with its familiar warmth. The fire has burned low again, but Biscuit adds wood and coaxes it back to life. The golden light fills the room, mixing with the afternoon sunlight streaming through the windows. They remove their winter gear slowly, carefully, hanging the pink mittens on a hook by the door, draping the cream scarf over a chair, placing the striped beanie on the mantel, and Peach takes out the tiny sky blue sweater from her apron pocket and sets it in a place of honor on the table, where it catches the light and seems to glow. "I'm making hot chocolate," Sunny announces, though her voice is sleepy now. "The real kind, with melted chocolate and cream and a dash of cinnamon." "I'll help," Mittens offers, though she's yawning as she says it. "I'll set out some blankets," Peach says, moving toward the closet where they keep the coziest throws. "And I'll just sit here for a moment," Biscuit admits, settling into his favorite spot on the window seat with a contented sigh. Within minutes, the cottage is transformed into a nest of coziness. The fire crackles cheerfully. Blankets are draped over every chair and cushion. Mugs of steaming hot chocolate sit on the table, topped with little clouds of whipped cream. The afternoon light streams through the windows, golden and gentle. The four friends settle into their favorite spots. Peach in her armchair, Biscuit on his window seat, Mittens curled on the table cushion, Sunny nestled into a pile of pillows on the floor. They're all wrapped in blankets, holding their hot chocolate, their bodies finally allowed to rest after the long night and morning of adventure. For a while, they simply sit in comfortable silence, sipping their drinks, watching the fire dance, feeling the peace of the moment settle over them like snow. "Thank you," Peach says eventually, her voice soft and drowsy. "Thank you all for the most magical Christmas I've ever had." "Thank you," Biscuit echoes, his deep voice a gentle rumble, "for being the best friends anyone could ask for." "Thank you," Mittens adds, her eyes already half closed, "for every adventure, every laugh, every moment." "Thank you," Sunny whispers, snuggling deeper into her pillows. "For everything, for being you, for being my family." The fire pops softly. Outside, the first stars of evening begin to appear in the darkening sky. Snow starts to fall again, gentle flakes drifting down like blessings, covering the world in fresh softness. Inside the crochet cottage, four friends drift toward sleep, their hearts full, their spirits at peace, their bond stronger than ever. The gentle ending. As the evening deepens and the fire burns low, the cottage seems to wrap itself around the friends like a gentle embrace. The walls hold their warmth. The windows frame the falling snow like living paintings. The air itself feels softer, kinder, more loving. Peach's eyes grow heavy. She sets down her empty mug and pulls her blanket up to her chin. Through the window, she can see a single star shining bright. Perhaps the same star that was there last night. Perhaps a new one. It doesn't matter. It's beautiful either way. Biscuit's breathing slows and deepens. He's already more asleep than awake, his large body completely relaxed, his face peaceful. The pink mittens are still within his reach, and even in sleep, one paw rests on them gently. Mittens has curled into a perfect ball, her striped tail wrapped around her nose. The cream scarf is tucked around her like a blanket within a blanket. A tiny purr rumbles from her chest, a sound of complete contentment. Sunny has already drifted off, her little head resting on a pillow, her breathing soft and even. The beanie with its enormous pom-pom sits on the table near her, keeping watch like a cheerful guardian. The cottage settles into the quiet of evening. The fire burns down to embers, casting a gentle orange glow. The snow continues to fall outside, each flake a tiny wish, each one unique and perfect. And in this moment, everything is exactly as it should be. 4 friends, safe and warm and loved, resting after a journey that changed them, holding gifts that represent the best of themselves and each other, surrounded by the magic of Christmas and the deeper magic of friendship. A gentle whisper to you. Dear friend, listening to this story as you drift towards sleep, may you carry with you the lessons of Peach, Biscuit, Mittens, and Sunny. May you know, like Peach learned, that your worries don't define you. Your courage does. That behind every fear is strength waiting to be discovered. May you understand, like Biscuit learned, that your nature is not a flaw to fix, but a gift to embrace. That slowness can be wisdom. That rest can be a strength. That your calm presence is a treasure to those around you. May you remember, like Mittens learned, that your energy and quick mind are not weaknesses, but powerful gifts when channeled with love. That your cleverness, your speed, your enthusiasm can change the world when shared with others. May you believe, like Sunny learned, that your joy is magic, that your ability to laugh, to find happiness, to spread light. These are the most powerful forces in the universe. That mistakes and stumbles don't diminish your worth. They're just part of the dance. And may you know, above all, that you are loved, that you are enough, that you are exactly who you're meant to be. In Merry Soft Meadow, 4 friends sleep peacefully, dreaming of magical winds and northern lights, of frozen ponds and helpful penguins, of climbed hills and shared sleds, of handmade gifts and love made visible. And somewhere in the Enchanted Forest, the wind spirit watches over them, and the forest lights glow softly in approval, and the whole magical world settles down to rest, content in the knowledge that friendship has triumphed, that love has won, that the true magic of Christmas lives not in grand gestures, but in small moments of connection, courage, and kindness. Sleep now, dear friend. Sleep softly. Sleep peacefully. The snow is falling gently. The stars are watching kindly. The world is wrapped in quiet magic. And you are safe and warm and loved. Merry Christmas, sweet dreams. And may your own handmade gifts, whatever they may be received with joy. And may you always know the magic of friendship, the warmth of belonging, and the gentle peace of a Christmas evening well spent. Sleep now. Sleep softly. Sleep well. The end. A story for bedtime for dream time, for any time you need to remember that magic lives in friendship, courage lives in kindness, and the greatest gifts are always the ones made with love.